Get underway with our 2x2 rolling start. Let's take a quick moment from our sponsors. We'll be right back with qualifying heat number 3 here in the Tri-Hulls at 2023 inaugural Boats, Beats, and BBQ in Grand Lake in Grove, Oklahoma.
VP Racing Fuels has been the official fuel of racing for over 45 years. But VP isn't just race fuels. VP offers a wide range of oils, additives, and our new Stay Frosty coolants to help keep your street car, tow vehicle, or weekend warrior running at its best. VP products are engineered to keep your vehicle running smooth and looking great for your daily commute. With our octane boosters, fuel treatments, and quick detailing products. Explore VP's full product line at vpracingfuels.com.
Kicker Marine Audio, the official series audio partner of the Formula One Powerboat Championship. Kicker Marine Audio produces real marine audio components meticulously designed, engineered and built with durability to withstand the harsh marine environment, and the power to be heard with clarity, even in an open-air environment. Just like Formula One racing. Kicker Marine Audio, again, the official audio partner of the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series. Our other great partners, Racing Communications. They're radios for racing. JH Performance Boats, custom, handcrafted, shallow water bay boats built with the highest quality materials. Seabolt Sports, world champion powerboat racing since 1939. Moto Marketing Group, with a track record in motorsports marketing, advertising, and design. They've got the track record to prove it from boats to cars to motorcycles. If it's got a motor, they can make it scream. Axel Sports, the official apparel provider of the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series, and Seaway Marine, your one-stop boat motor shop. Find them on seawaymarine.com, the number one spot to find new old stock for Johnson, Evinrude, Yamaha, Gale, Mercury, Force, Chrysler outboard motors, as well as OMC, Mercruiser, and Volvo stern drives. All right, we're getting underway here, just about to get underway with qualifying heat number 3 here in the Tri-Hull class. All right, let's take a look at how we are faring here in qualifying heat number 3 here in the Texas Tri-Hull class. For our starting order, looks like on the outside of row 1, that's the 10 of Scary Jerry Rinker. On the inside, it's the 52 of Tanner Rinker. Rinker's dropped the flag. Here we go. We're underway. Green flag racing here in qualifying heat number 3. Rinker on the front row. Then the 93 of J.B. Jensen, the 17 of Neil Marsh, already moving his way up in there. As they go down into the south end of the course, look at them all wad up and get together down there as these 115 horse Johnson, Evinrude, and Mercury outboards on the back of these Glastron Tri-Hulls from the 60s and 70s. We put decks and roll cages on them. We call them bumper boats. At 65 miles an hour at the 52 of Tanner Rinker out in front right now, with a 10 of Jerry Rinker taking a big whack over the wake there as he's got a rearview mirror full of the 17 of Neil Marsh. Pushing his way down the front stretch. No, that's the 88 of Josh Wells. I'm sorry about that. That was the 88 of Wells. I get confused now. Scary Jerry was getting too warm in that all-black Tri-Hull, so he painted the deck white. Oh, we had a big spray down there in the corner. I don't know what happened. It looks like somebody just took a real hard turn. Oh, pooh, we had some contact down there between the 26 of Briston Sherman. And it looks like maybe that was the DD1 of Andy Miller, the rookie here from Disney, Oklahoma. There's the 37 of Mason Rinker working his way up, trying to get through the mid-pack. But our leader, the 52 of Tanner Rinker, coming out of turn number 1 on the north side. Now the 88 of Wells goes wide to the outside. And then the 17 of Neil Marsh is out in front, followed by the 10 of Jerry Rinker, the 93 of J.B. Jensen, the 37 of Mason Rinker, the 13 of Grant Schubert doing battle with the 69 of Cole Waring. As they go down into the south end of the course, there's the 37 of Mason Rinker just narrowly missing the engine of the 37 of Mason Rinker, the 13 of Grant Schubert getting after it as well as he's darting all over the course trying to get by the 69 of Cole Mullet-Waring. The 17 of Neil Marsh makes a move, coming down tight to the inside on a turn number 1 on the north end of the course, and he moves up one spot, getting by the 88 of Josh Wells. Josh Wells, part of that large contingency out of Richmond, Texas, where these boats are built at the JH Performance Boat Shop. So, initially called Texas Tri-Hull. We dropped the Texas because we've got guys from all over, Colorado, Michigan, Oklahoma, that run in this class now. You see, how tight are they? You got the 13 of Grant Schubert out in lane 2. The 6 of Dustin Terry way out in lane 4. Then you've got on the inside the 37 of Mason Rinker. And then the 93 of J.B. Jensen's hanging on to that 5th position, trying to track down the 10 of Jerry Rinker. There's the 6 of Dustin Terry, the Dustman, stepping back into a tri-hull for the first time in a few years here, almost exclusively Formula One, but decided to shake things up this weekend. There's the 17 of Neil Marsh doing battle with the 52 of Tanner Rinker. We're about to have a battle here, ladies and gentlemen. 3 laps remaining here for the checkered flag here in qualifying heat number 3. The 17 of Neil Marsh sitting in the wake there. He's got to get out and find some clean water. 52 of Tanner Rinker's had a real volatile 2023. It seems like he finishes in the top 3 or he doesn't even finish the heat. Had some of that yesterday. Got the motor wet down at one end of the course, and the boat went dead in the water. Had a better Q2 for a little while, but then it kind of all went south. Now he's trying to hang on for dear life as he got a rearview mirror full of the reigning Formula One Powerboat Championship Series national champion. Took second in the Nationals last week on the 17 of Neil Marsh, straight out of Hemlock. The dude pushing hard here, but he's got 1 lap left. There's the white flag, comes out. 1 lap left here in qualifying heat number 3 in the Tri-Hull division of the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series here at Boats, Beats, and BBQ on Grand Lake in Grove, Oklahoma. Now here's his move. This is the patented Neil Marsh inside move. Can Neil Bob get it? He has got to go cross back wide to the outside. Ooh, that's going to scrub some speed. He didn't want to do that, but a great job by the 52 of Tanner Rinker as he really scrubbed up all the lanes available to the 17 of Neil Marsh. Now is he going to do it again? The 52 of Tanner Rinker goes down inside and just keeps him right in the wake. What a great move by the young man out of Houston, Texas. Ladies and gentlemen, taking qualifying heat number 3, the 52 of Tanner Rinker. Nipping on his heels in second, the 17 of Neil Marsh. And finding a little bit better form here on Saturday in Q3, Scary Jerry Rinker, 80 years young, finishing in 3rd. In 4th, the 37 of Mason Rinker. 5th, the 93 of J.B. Jensen. 6th, the 13 of Grant Schubert. 7th, the 6 of Dustin Terry. 8th, the 26 of Briston Sherman. 9th, the 69 of Cole Mullet-Waring. 10th, the DD1 of Andy Miller, and it looks like the 88 of Josh Wells, while running well in 3rd. Eventually that motor went away, which is what allowed the 17 of Neil Marsh to get around him, and he finishes in 11th, having to be towed in off the north end of the course here. And that wraps it up for qualifying heat number 3 here in the Tri-Hull class. Hopefully we get a chance to chat with the 52 of Tanner Rinker. And looking like his luck might turn around here a little bit on Sunday's conclusion of qualifying and main events here, again, at the inaugural Boats, Beats, and BBQ. Don't forget, we've got the Outlaw Chef's Choice dish here at Boats, Beats, and BBQ competition going on today. Get yourself a $10 plate and vote for your People's Choice Outlaw Chef's Choice barbecue entry from all the great Kansas City barbecue teams that came down here to Grove, Oklahoma to compete with some top-notch barbecue last night. I had some of it yesterday. I'm a kid whose dad's whole family was from Texas, so even though I'm a Minnesota boy, I find myself to be a pretty good judge of barbecue. And, boy, this stuff did not disappoint at all. What a phenomenal group of teams they had come down here. So amazing in what they're able to do and how professional those pits are. I mean, you look at some of these things, and, I mean, I'm thinking these rigs got to cost $50,000+ with what they've got going on, these big smoker pits and stackers. And it's an impressive setup that the Kansas City Barbecue Association teams put together when they ascend to a venue for an event. Hoping we get a chance to chat with the 52 of Tanner Rinker. Looks like he's making his way down here. He's on the dock. Now I'm just trying to get him down here. Oh, he's grabbing a hat maybe there, make sure he's looking good. All right, he's going to make his way up here in just a moment. We're going to have a word with the man who's either first or worst, your winner from qualifying heat number 3, the 52 at Tanner Rinker. All right, race fans, joining me now. We call him worst or first, the 52 at Tanner Rinker. Tanner, got to feel good to finally get that tri-hull to run a full heat and show the folks here in Grand Lake what the 52 machine can do when it gets running on all full cylinders.
It feels fantastic to be able to finish a race, let alone in first. So I'm really happy with what happened right now and really excited.
Yeah, so I think we got a new nickname for you. We're going to start calling you Ricky Bobby. If you ain't first, you're last. Talk about what were some of those gremlins you were dealing with yesterday, because you just couldn't seem to get put a full heat together. You were fast, really fast at times, but then you ended up seeming like you had to watch the rest of the heat floating in the water out there.
We had a lot of problems with our coils. They just kept giving out on us, and turns out it was the coils and we had some wiring backwards, so that was our mistake.
Well, these motors have been around quite a while. They've seen some hard miles on them, but got to feel good to collect some good points. Now you're going to have to shuffle yourself back a little bit further in the pack in Q4. Now you're going to be right next to a lot of guys that are pretty tough competitors. What are you going to have to do in Q4 to find yourself on the inside of row 1 come the final?
I'm going to have to work my butt off because I am almost dead last in points, so I'm going to have to really work my way through the field, and it's going to be hard, but got to do it.
Hey, well, you know what? Things are so much more enjoyable when they're hard, aren't they? They're hard
Absolutely.
to get through, but they can be real great when you pull them off. Well, hey, we wish you the best of luck, because you know what? All you got to do is finish. You give her heck out there and run like you did here in Q2. We might just find you on the podium for the second time in a row here after a solid finish at Lake of the Ozarks.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, that was your winner from qualifying heat number 3, the 52 at Tanner Rinker. What a run it was out there. He finally put it together. Our own Ricky Bobby figuring it out here in qualifying heat number 3 and running it like he stole it. What a great job for the young driver. Part of that Rinker contingency. We got 3 of them in Tri-Hall and a couple in Formula 1. The Rinker's always strong in tunnel boat racing and looking to bring up the next generation as the 52 at Tanner Rinker and the 37 at Mason Rinker step into that. Now is what? I think that would be a 3rd generation or 4th generation in their family racing competitive powerboats. Pretty impressive for a clan that spans from Florida to Texas to Indiana and all across the United States. They're a big group. They travel well. We call them the Rinker clan for a reason. There's just so many of them. It's not a group. It's bigger than a group. There's sometimes you'll see 30, 40 Rinkers at a race on any given weekend, and always great to have them here, but a great run by the 52 of Tanner Rinker. All right, well, let's take a look at the rest of our schedule for our Sunday racing here. So we've got 2 qualifying heats from Formula Lights in the books. We had 2 Formula 1 qualifying heats in the books as of yesterday. And we've got now 3 Texas Tri-Hall heats in the books already, with the 3rd one being completed this morning. Again, they've got 1 more left. We take a look at the rest of the schedule. Coming up next, the third qualifying heat in Formula Lights. So the Formula Lights are coming right back out on the water. Once we wrap up their 3rd and final qualifying heat, we will have the Formula 1 3rd and final qualifying heat. Again, Formula Lights 6 minutes plus 1 lap. Formula 1 8 minutes plus 1 lap. And then we'll have the 4th and final Tri-Hull heat before we have our finals from 11:30 to 12:15. Again, we may run early. Yesterday we finished an hour early. Tip of the cap to the operations of the operations team and the Formula 1 Powerboat Championship Series. You've really got to run like a well-oiled machine to run an hour early on your schedule. And there goes all of my notes for the weekend into Grand Lake. That's okay. Hopefully I can engage my brain on this Sunday morning and remember all our great sponsors like Axel Sports, Seabold Sports, Moto Marketing Group, Racing Communications, Kicker Marine Audio, obviously Mercury Racing, and that 4-stroke competition outboard and the APX that's really the next wave and the next generation of performance powerboat racing here in the Formula 1 class. But, you just roll with it. Oh, look at my guy Jet Ski Jared here picking up all my notes, making sure I don't litter into the lake. Thankfully, they're of a thick paper quality, so I'm hoping that we can get them out, maybe dry them out, and I'll actually be able to use them. We'll see. But thankfully, I know most of our drivers. I know where they're from. I know their sponsors. I know what makes them tick. Sometimes they like that. Sometimes it drives them nuts because I share with you folks some things that they may necessarily not want you to know, but hey, that's okay. If you don't want people to know, don't tell the announcer, right? That's what I say. But appreciate Jared here helping me out after I let all my paperwork blow off into the lake, and he's going to get them all laid out here for me. We're going to hopefully get them to dry off a little bit. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. 1 minute, drivers. 1 minute. Here at qualifying heat 3, the final qualifying heat in Formula Lights is going to see the number 78 of our Marshall Gildermaster on the pole. 50 seconds, drivers, 50 seconds. The 27 of Steve Lee unable to make it here in Q3. They're feverishly working back in the pits trying to get him ready for the final. 40 seconds, drivers, 40 seconds. Then it's the 29 of Jared Jensen followed by your winner from qualifying heat number 1, the 14 of Tyler Peterson. 30 seconds, drivers, 30 seconds. Then a 21 of Jose Mendaña Jr. and the 35 of Mark Schmierbach. Let's set that main event starting order for Formula Lights. 20 seconds, drivers, you're under starters orders. The flag is up. He drops the flag, and they come jumping off the beach. Oh, no, the 14 of Peterson doesn't fire. The 14 of Peterson does not fire off the start pontoon. Decimated is the young man from Minnesota. He finally gets it going. But let's see what's going to happen. Oh, watch out there. The 29 of Jared Jensen and the 21 of Mendaña Touch coming through the whole shot. Past the commitment buoy down into turn number 3. The 29 of Jensen holds strong. That's impressive for the young driver out of Colorado, especially with a veteran like the 21 of Mendaña. You're talking a multi-time world champion. And the 29 of Jensen saying, hey, listen, bro, I got the inside lane, dude. I'm not giving this thing up. You want to run into me, that's fine, but I'm holding my line. And he did a good job of pressing him out and probably frustrating the 21 of Mendaña immensely as they came through the middle of the course. And now we're on lap 1 of this 6 minutes plus 1 lap. Final qualifying heat here in Formula Lights. The 35 of Schmierbach running in the wash. He hates that hole. Watch out. He tries to get squirrely, trying to find some clean water. Now darts down to the inside as the 21 of Mendaña starts to pull away from him, trying to track down the 29 of Jared Jensen. Jensen goes down into turn number 3. You see Mendaña taking that tight line pin to pin, trying to make up ground and find some clean water. Now Jensen better start working his way back to the inside. If he waits too long, he's going to give Mendaña some of that momentum. He finally starts to go down to the inside, but leaves Mendaña a clean lane. Nice job by the veteran there. He stays in the clean water as long as he can and just barely touches that wake coming into turn number 3. There's our leader. The Go Boat Racing Island Lake Marine 29 of Jared Jensen, young man out of Denver, Colorado, making the way down here to Oklahoma. First race was this here in 2023 due to the flooding early in Colorado and them being in the boat business and running some of the reservoir rental programs down there in the foothills of the Colorado Rockies. They were required to put their business first and put racing on hold the first half of the season, but glad to see the 29 of Jensen back here for the back half of the 2023 season. And there goes the 21 of Mendaña. Then you see there flashes the 35 of Schmierbach, and here comes Peterson. What a performance by the young man out of Minnesota. He didn't fire off the beach and somehow is now within just a handful of boat lengths of the podium here in qualifying heat number 3. As our leader, the 29 of Jensen. There's the 14 of Peterson. He is driving that thing like a madman, trying to catch the 35 of Schmierbach, and he's doing a darn good job of it right now as he's starting to gain ground over the veteran out of Wisconsin. We might have a dogfight on our hands here in just a couple of laps. The question is will he have enough time to get up on top of the decks of the 35 of Schmierbach and get around him? It is no easy feat to get around the 35 pizza in a Mark Schmierbach. It does not happen very often, although we did see it happen by the 18 of Jason Nelson. If you remember, all the way back to the Port Neches Riverfest, their first round of the season, the 18 of Jason Nelson making a amazing move down to the inside with some boat back traffic and pulling out a victory, snatching it away from the 35 of Schmierbach. There you saw the 21 of Mendaña flash. Peterson just can't seem to gain any more ground. There's our leader. The 29 of Jensen now goes over the wake of the 78 of Marshall Gildermaster, the rookie, a little bit down on power. He said he's been struggling with trim on that Molgard design Formula Light. And he's working to try to get that trim fixed. But because he's been having so many issues, he said he's really not been able to air the boat out for fear that he's going to get it stuck in the out position, blow it over, or get it stuck in the in position and stuff it. So he's being very tentative with his setup here this weekend. Again, just a rookie in 2023, so still doing some learning behind the wheel of that Formula Light. But Jared Jensen continues to go wire to wire. That has been the theme here in Formula Lights, wire to wire all weekend long. Will that play out in the final, or will that be the lone race in the Formula Lights weekend here where we don't see the pole sitter take the win as he runs down the start-finish line, completing another lap? The 21 of Mendaña. Oh, no, what happened? The 35 of Schmierbach got past. Holy, where it happened there, we were following the leader. And ladies and gentlemen, the 35 of Mark Schmierbach is off the podium. The 14 of Tyler Peterson not only did he get around him, but look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There he is, 5 seconds back by the 14 of Tyler Peterson is the 35 of Schmierbach. And now the 21 of Jose Mendana. Hey, Jose, you better watch out. Let's take a look at a replay of that overtake by the 14 of Tyler Peterson. He goes down in the corner. Oh, and the 35 of Schmierbach hooked it. He felt that pressure from the 14 of Peterson, hooked it down in turn number 1, and Tyler Peterson said, hey, see you later, old man. I'm gone. Took off like a rocket down the straightaway. Now he's trying to track down the 21 of Mendana. Can he do it in the remaining few laps here? He closed the gap on the 35 of Schmierbach. Will the pressure he applied to Schmierbach work against the 21 of Mendana as we are approaching the white flag here in this third and final qualifying heat in Formula Lights? Our leader, the 21 of Jared Jensen, way out in front, just running away with it here in Formula Lights. He's already down the back straightaway. We see the 21 of Mendana now just going down into turn 1, almost a complete straightaway lead for the young driver out of Denver, Colorado. Wasn't able to make the first half of the season, so really starting to just get back used to the cockpit and comfortable with that machine. And boy, he's really figured it out here in qualifying heat 3. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters, right? You can get that thing dialed in and find the perfect setup. By the time you finish qualifying heat number 3, you'll be ready to go for the final. We have seen guys who have a great Q1, great Q2, and then they drop off because either A, they're not able to change their setups to match the setup changes from the other drivers, or something happens and they're just not able to do what they did in the first half of qualifying. There's the 29 of Jensen. White flag is out. Go fast, turn left. We'll stay with this young man on his final lap. He's so far out in front, we'll then be able to circle back to that battle that's starting to form up between the 14 of Peterson and the 21 of Mendana. Now the 29 of Jensen goes wide out of turn number 2. There's the 21 of Mendana and the 14 of Peterson now crossing for their final lap. As we get up with the 29 of Jensen, how about this? He is 3 more laps, and he would have lapped the 35 of Mark Schmierbach. Something's definitely wrong with that machine. But ladies and gentlemen, going to wire, the theme in Formula Lights this weekend, taking the checkered flag after a whole shot off the beach out of Denver, Colorado. Running for Go Boat Racing in Island Lake Marine, number 29, Jared Jensen. And that battle heating up, but I think the 14 of Peterson not firing cost him that spot, or even both. Taking second in qualifying heat number 2, the 21 of Mendana, and they're in third, the 14 of Tyler Peterson. But everybody else better be scared of that 14 machine in that Latitude Dispensaries. There's the 35 of Schmierbach coming across in fourth. In fifth, the 78 of Marshall Gildermaster, and of course the 27 of Steve Lee, unable to start here in qualifying heat number 3. Well, what a great heat that was. Hopefully I have a feeling we're going to talk to a very elated, very ecstatic young man from Colorado, as that is his best performance ever in a Formula Lights machine. And he's really starting to find his form behind the wheel of a Formula Light boat. Again, a second-generation tunnel boat driver. His father ran for many years, and then kind of shelved the boat racing to help bolster the family business and raise his kids. And now he's got 2 of them out here racing, and he's their crew chief. And it's great to see the Jensen family a part of the Formula One Powerboat Championship seasons here again in 2023. They started with us just last year in 2022 with a couple of tri-hauls. We saw one iteration prior to that where we saw Jared Jensen jump into a tri-haul and test it out the year prior, but went full-time with us last year. We're bummed that we couldn't see him in the first half of the season here this year, but super excited that they're back with us here for the back half of 2023. You see that great drone shot overhead. There's our camera guys. We've got the speakers out there. Again, it's country night tonight here at Boats, Beats, and BBQ. We've got some great country bands out there. But right now, we're going to have a chance to chat with our winner from qualifying heat number 3, the number 29 of Jared Jensen. Well, Jared, that's got to feel good, man.
Yeah, it definitely feels good, especially after the couple of heats that we had so far this race. So, but yeah, it was
Yeah, you're still getting used to it. You know, obviously you had to deal with the flooding that happened in Colorado, big impact to the family business back in Denver. Had you kind of shelf the racing program for the first half of the year? I can imagine just knocking that rust off those first couple of heats. Do you feel like you're back in top racing form? Because you sure look like it out there in Heat 3.
Yeah, the boat feels good. I mean, my whole family, everybody that comes out and works on this thing and gets it ready to go, and I just have to get in there. It's really all them, and the boat feels good, and took a little bit for us to get into shape this race, but I think we're there.
Yeah, you know, I was talking about it during the race. You know, hey, you can have a great Q1, but you'd much rather have a great Q3 because then now you got that setup. You're like, hey, we don't touch it, right? You leave it. You're ready to roll for the final, and looks like you guys are going to have a dogfight with the likes of Tyler Peterson, Jose Mendaña Jr., and Mark Schmierbach. What do you think you're going to have to do to find yourself on the podium here and bring some hardware back to Colorado?
I think staying calm in traffic is the name of the game with the 45s, and with Tyler and Jose and Steve and Mark. They're incredible drivers. They're all players, so you can't fall off a bit when you're coming into corners and out back onto the straights with those guys around you. It's going to be a lot of fun. I've been learning a lot driving around those guys.
Right on, man. Well, hey, we'll let you get back, enjoy a little bit of a break here before you come back for that main event in Formula Lights. But what great form going into the final. Wish you the best of luck. Maybe we'll end up seeing you on the podium here at the end of the day.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Right on. That was your winner from qualifying heat number 3, the 29 Go Boat Racing Island Lake Marine of Jared Jensen, taking his first heat win here in Formula Lights on the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series. Here's the big question. Is that setup going to be the setup for the main event that's going to propel him to victory and his first victory ever in Formula Lights? Or will the 35 of Mark Schmierbach get that Formula Light back on the trailer and figure out what happened after that spin out down in between turns 1 and 2, because he was a completely different driver and that boat had a completely different attitude after that spin out when he was fighting hard with the 14 of Tyler Peterson, who, man, everybody should be scared of that 14 boat right now, because he didn't fire off the start. He was probably a good 5 seconds behind the entire field, and he finished second. They better be shaking in their booties for the main event, because if he can do something like that and actually get off the beach with everybody else, boy, you're going to have a hard time trying to get around that 14, a young man out of Minnesota running for Latitude Dispensaries. Well, and that wraps up qualifying for Formula Lights. Coming up next, though, we've got the third and final qualifying heat in Formula One. We couldn't be here without our great partners at Mid-America Outdoors. Mid-America Outdoors puts on so many different programs and so many different disciplines of racing. We are just another discipline that they've added to their repertoire here in 2023. Not only the only event that we're going to do with the great folks at Mid-America Outdoors. They're actually going to be with us down in Lake Havasu. We had a date change here in 2023. We used to be middle of the month in October. We've now moved it to the end of the month for Legends of Havasu. We're going to have bull riding, boat racing, side-by-side racing, and a whole lot of fun out in the desert in late October for the final round of the 2023 Formula One Powerboat Championships. And we know Mid-America Outdoors couldn't do it with their great sponsors. First and foremost, Good Boy Vodka. The great folks at Good Boy Vodka. A new alternative for you if you're looking for a cold, crisp, refreshing adult beverage. Check out Good Boy Vodka. What about Can-Am? We all know Can-Am, the side-by-sides and the great portfolio of products from Can-Am. Bringing excitement to you wherever you are, the great folks at Can-Am. And also Ultimax. If you're looking for the safest, secure, high-performance belts by Timken, check out the Ultimax brand, all great partners of Mid-America Outdoors. All right, well, we'll be back right here in just a couple minutes. We're going to take a quick commercial break while we get the rest of the Formula Ones on the water, and we're going to wrap up qualifying here in Formula One with a third and final qualifying heat here at the inaugural Boats, Beats, and BBQ on Grand Lake here in beautiful Grove, Oklahoma.
Racing Fuels has been the official fuel of racing for over 45 years. But VP isn't just race fuels. VP offers a wide range of oils, additives, and our new Stay Frosty coolants to help keep your street car, tow vehicle, or weekend warrior running at its best. VP products are engineered to keep your vehicle running smooth and looking great for your daily commute. With our octane boosters, fuel treatments, and quick detailing products. Explore VP's full product line at vpracingfuels.com.
Kicker Marine Audio, the official series audio partner of the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series. Kicker Marine Audio produces real marine audio components meticulously designed, engineered, and built with the ability to withstand the harsh marine environment and power to be heard with the clarity, even in an open-air environment like F1 racing. Our other great partners here, VP Racing Fuels. Learn more about Ultramarine and explore VP's full racing product line at vpfuels.com. Moto Marketing Group, providing award-winning advertising and strategic marketing solutions to any size company or team with one-to-one service and consulting. Moto Marketing Group excels in racing and sports marketing, advertising, and design. They have the track record to prove it, from boats to cars and motorcycles. If it has an engine, they can make it scream. Check them out on Facebook at MotoMG or MotoMG.com. Seaway Marine. Seaway operates out of a 62,000 square foot warehouse that's packed with current OEM parts, aftermarket parts, and vintage hard-to-find parts. They ship over 100,000 packages a year all over the United States. They provide same-day shipping on in-stock orders. Seaway staff is arguably the most knowledgeable in the industry with decades of experience. Seaway prides itself in excellent customer service. Make Seaway Marine your first call or text for all your marine part needs. You can get a hold of them at 425-412-4006 or sales at sea-way.com, or find them online at seawaymarine.com, your one-stop boat, motor shop and official Johnson & Evinrude parts distributor. Axel Sports, your passion drives us to excel. The official apparel provider of the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series. And JH Performance Boats, custom, handcrafted, shallow water bay boats built with the highest quality materials. And we wouldn't be here at all if it weren't for the great folks at Seabold Sports, world champion powerboat racing since 1939. All right. Well, I couldn't do it without all our great partners, Mid-America Outdoor and all their great partners, and what a collaboration that has been this weekend, and I cannot wait for Legends of Havasu. So make sure you book your hotel rooms, get those flights in now, book them into Vegas. It's a beautiful couple-hour drive through the desert down to the adult playground in the desert known as Lake Havasu City for Legends of Havasu 2023. All right, while we're getting the rest of these boats loaded, let's take a look at our starting lineup here for qualifying heat number 3 in the Formula One class. Okay. As we get our final few drivers here, there you see the 190, that black beauty of Dustin Terry running with that APX on the back. Let's take a look at our starting grid. After a nearly catastrophic failure, if it would have happened under racing conditions, but it happened right before qualifying heat number 1. He had a steering cable shear off at the pulley, was unable to qualify yesterday, so now on the pole with no points collected out of the Woodlands, Texas. Running for Fleming Manufacturing, the number 9 of Johnny Fleming. Coming second off the dock out of Richmond, Texas, the number 15 of Tim Kraft. Third off the start pontoon, one half of the Welch Racing team out of Wayzata, Minnesota, the number 95 of Mark Welch. Fourth off the start pontoon, another component of that Outlaw F1 team that's got 4 drivers here this weekend, running for Yates Racing and JH Performance Boats, number 99, Travis Yates. Fifth off the start pontoon, ran really well in Heat 1 with a third, struggled mightily in Heat 2. Now he's fifth off the dock here in Heat 3. Can this be the Heat? He turns it around and maybe gets a win. The 190, Dustin Terry, the Dustman, running for Ameristar Roofing, coming fifth off the start pontoon. Just off his outside hip, one half of the Phase 3 performance racing team out of Richmond, Texas. Get out of my way, the number 8 of Jeremiah Mayo. In seventh off the start pontoon, boy, I talked to the crew chief, Ron Anderson, yesterday after, and I said, hey, guys, what happened yesterday? And he's like, man, we couldn't find the prop. We couldn't jet the 2.5-liter Mercury well. Just a host of issues, so they spent a lot of time, just like the 14 of Tyler Peterson and Formula Lights did, really trying to dial that thing in here for qualifying heat number 3, because he starts seventh, so that means he's mid-pack. Seventh off the start pontoon, the 17 of Dylan Anderson. And then yesterday I talked to this young man, kind of the dark horse for the weekend, showed some great speed in qualifying heat number 2, but man, had a brutal start. Said it was probably the worst start of his career off the beach in heat number 1 after qualifying 4th in fast lap qualifiers. He's 8th off the start pontoon here in the final qualifying heat. The number 59 of Tyler Welch. 9th off the start pontoon. Had a great run wire to wire in qualifying heat number 2 after his boat going dead in the water in heat 1, so made up 8 places after the first qualifying heat there in Q2. Now finds himself 9th off the start pontoon. Can he run through the pack and win 2 qualifying heats, which would probably put him on the pole? The number 13 of Grant Schubert. Then in 10th, the number 24 of Spencer Love. That's one half of the Clover Construction Racing team. And here's the crazy part. Hey, Spence, you better not let your brother beat you here in Q3, because that's what he's done so far through 2 heats. The rookie and normal second driver of the Clover Racing team finds himself in 11th, fourth highest points accumulated through 2 heats. Number 12 of Sean Love starting 11th here in Heat 3. And then the 3-horse battle that have really been kind of the class of the field so far this weekend. The 52 of Chris Rinker in that McLean Trailers Rinker Boat World machine coming 12th off the start pontoon. Then the lone Canadian here, the man out of Innisfil, Ontario, Canada, in that 94 Crystal Clear Wiper Blades machine, coming 13th, Mr. Rusty Wyatt. And rounding out the field, the spot he's used to here on the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series. He's a defending series champion, multi-time world and national champion, the lead driver for the Phase 3 performance team. He has amassed the most points so far. He's going to have to run through the field here in Heat 3 if he wants that pole position, starting last off the start pontoon. In 14th position, the number 10 of Terry Rinker. All right, looks like we're a final driver just finally now getting into the water. I don't know what was going on there with the 13 of Grant Schubert, but he's just making it back out onto the water now. Off the trailer, we're going to run a hot lap and then get him lined up here for the third and final qualifying heat. We see we've got some great onboard footage there from the 52 of Chris Rinker. Yes, we are going to have onboard live footage from a Formula One class here. We'll see some great footage out of the 52 of Chris Rinker. Obviously, he's got the lid up, trying to get some of that air in there. It's all carbon fiber on the inside of those things, so it's all black, very hot inside. And granted, it's not as warm as one would expect for Oklahoma Labor Day weekend. But still warm inside that cockpit when you're not moving at all. And so just trying to get some air there, but we're going to have some great footage from the 52 of Chris Rinker. All right, hot laps. Lid goes down. Let's go on a hot lap with the 52 of Chris Rinker here as we get ready to go. What a view from overhead there of the 52 of Rinker as he goes down the front straight. You can see, even in calm conditions, how much these boats bounce across the top of the water, and it's so much different than car racing. Could you imagine if a Formula One car racer had to deal with the amount of vibrations and oscillations that are a part of every lap of Formula One tunnel boat racing, and speeds in excess of 115 miles an hour? He goes cruising all the way down. The front stretch going to go around the corner one more time. Looks like he's going to get a second lap in here because he knows that he's way back on the start pontoon, so he's going to be one of the last guys loaded onto the start dock. So he gets a run all the way back down to the north end of the course. He's going to back off the speed a little bit, and they're going to boogie on down to the far south end of the course. Again, running a modified Le Mans start here in Formula One, just like we do in all of our classes. Start at 1 minute, go down in 10-second increments all the way down till we hit that starter's orders. That flag goes up, and these motors come roaring to life. Again, modified Le Mans, different from those of you who are new to tunnel boat racing than the normal Le Mans start you see in Formula One car racing, for instance. Those are on. The motors are turned on, but they're in neutral. Well, we don't have neutral in Formula One boats. It is stop or go, or I should say go and coast would be the two mechanisms we have on these Formula One boats. If you're not in the gas, you're out of it, and the boat's coming off plane. So that modified Le Mans start, that motor completely off, and as soon as they drop the flag, these guys flip a switch. Those motors come roaring to life, and they'll take off, reaching speeds in excess of 115 miles an hour within 3 seconds from hitting that accelerator and firing that motor. They're going to go through the middle of the course all the way down to the far end, and that'll start lap 1 in this 8 minutes plus 1 lap final qualifying heat. You know, let's take a look at the course here on this 1 mile course on the shores of Grand Lake here that these Formula One boats are going to be competing on, and we'll go through a little bit more of a detailed explanation of how this start's going to work. As we take a look at the map here, right, the course layout, what a beautiful graphic by our great folks at Live Race Media. So actually a little shorter than a mile, 7 points, so 3/4 of a mile finish. They're going to start now. We're going to leave this up here. The drivers are going to start way right and down on your screen here from turn number 1. They're going to go through the middle of the course, through past their commitment buoys, which requires them to stay in maintain their lanes until they reach that commitment buoy. Then they can all dart down to turn 3. They work out to turn 3, then around turn number 4, and that will, once they cross that start finish line, that will start lap 1 of this 8 minutes plus 1 lap final qualifying heat to set our starting order for the main event later on today, just after the noon hour here, as we wrap up racing at the 3rd round of the 2023 Formula One Powerboat Championship Series here at the inaugural Boats, Beats, and BBQs. What a great graphics package from the great folks at Live Race Media. Honestly, I've worked with a couple of different production companies doing this for as long as I have, and from what I've seen out there and from what I have worked with in the past, there has never been a greater and more professional crew to work with here for powerboat racing in the United States than the great folks at Live Race Media. There again, that onboard shot of the 52 of Chris Rinker. We were working to try to get some in-cockpit camera stuff, but here's the problem. Carbon fiber is very difficult to transmit a signal through. Something I learned. Did not know that. And so having some issues with the connectivity and getting the signal, so we decided to mount that on top of the cockpit of the 52 of Chris Rinker. Now you can see him, and this is a great shot. We can see, it's a great shot to see how these guys get lined up on the start dock. So he's going to go all the way wide to the outside, and he's going to swing in from the left to the right, and you'll see how close he pulls up next to the boats to his right and left and how tight they are. And they have to maintain that lane for probably at least probably a good 300, 400, 500 yards through the middle of the course until they can start really moving and jockeying for position as they move their way down into turn 3. Now here you see the 52 of Chris Rinker coming all the way in there. He's following the 24 of following the 12 of Sean Love. Now they grab him, and now you'll watch. Notice they're waist high, chest high water. They swing that boat around and get him in position next to the 12 of Sean Love. Then the 94 of Rusty Wyatt's going to be off of his right hip, and then next to the 94 of Rusty Wyatt, there you see the 12 of Sean Love and the 24 of Spencer Love. Both twin composite Hoffman hulls built by Rick Hoffman out of California. What an amazing boat builder he has become. Not that he wasn't before. You didn't expect the quality to come back so quickly and the performance to come back so quickly after, I want to say, a 10 to 15-year hiatus from building boats. It was like, for Rick, it was like riding a bike. He got done with it, and then once he got back into it, it was like, yeah, I was the best at it when I built them. And why wouldn't I be the best at them again? Now, his first iteration, he had some great Hoffman Formula Ones, but really in his early days was the preeminent Formula Lights boat builder. Haven't seen Rick get back into building the Formula Lights. Would love to see him put together a couple of Formula Light packages for some of our drivers, maybe retire some of those older boats, and because his stuff is competitive in Formula One. You know it's got to be competitive in Formula Lights as well. So light. I think I saw one of his boats with no rigging, so no cables, no batteries, no motors, no metal, nothing, just a bare composite hull, 370 pounds. 370 pounds. That means that I could squat a bare hull Formula One from Rick Hoffman, which is pretty impressive. But we're doing a test flag here. We're just moments from getting underway here at the final qualifying heat in Formula One here at Boats, Beats, and BBQ. Here comes the test flag. All right, there's the test flag. Making sure the drivers can all see us. All right, yeah, we got some glare coming off the water. So coming up on the 1 minute gun. 1 minute drivers, 1 minute. Here in qualifying heat number 3. Will the 9 of Johnny Fleming have this as his redemption heat and really get things dialed in for the main event to try to fight for some hardware here at Boats, Beats, and BBQ? 50 seconds, drivers, 50 seconds. Or will it be the 95 of Mark Welch or the 15 of Tim Kraft? 40 seconds, drivers, 40 seconds. Could the 190 of Dustin Terry figure out what plagued him in Heat 2? Or the 59 of Tyler Welch get his redemption from that terrible start in Heat number 1? 30 seconds, drivers, 30 seconds. Or could the 12 of Sean Love win his first heat ever as a part of the Clover Construction team? And then there's the battle between Rinker, and Rusty Wyatt. Let's set that starting grid for the main event. 20 seconds, drivers, you're under starters orders. The flag is up. He drops the flag. Crew chiefs yelling at their drivers, go, 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 go. Who's going to get the whole shot here in qualifying heat number 3? A great jump there by the 17 of Dylan Anderson. He had to figure something out here on Sunday because he had a brutal Saturday. There's the 52 of Chris Rinker coming from third last off the start pontoon. Look at how rough it is already down there on the north end of the course as they go through turn 3. The 9 of Johnny Fleming. What a great hole shot. He's got it figured out. This is exactly what he needed to do as he's trying to run away from the field here in qualifying heat number 3. And then we got 4 wide coming down the straightaway. On the inside, it's Mayo, then Welch, then the 190 of Dustin Terry, and the 17 of Dylan Anderson as they go down the front stretch. Everybody clears through turns 1 and 2 on the opening lap here. This 8 minutes plus 1 lap, final qualifying heat. But Johnny Fleming is running away with the field. He's looking to run away and hide here in qualifying heat number 2, or heat number 3. But the 190 of Dustin Terry, out of those 4 boats coming down the front stretch on heat 1, Dustin Terry in that Apex 200 competition 4-stroke makes his way out of that pack and now is starting to track down the 9 of Johnny Fleming. Hey, Johnny, you better watch out because the Black Beauty is coming. There's the 24 of Spencer Love getting by the 15 of Tim Kraft. They go down into the south end of the course, coming out of there. Great move by the 190 Dustin Terry. We still got them stacked up all over each other. The 17 of Dylan Anderson sitting in third now, trying to go up the inside on the 190 of Dustin Terry. Then it's the 8 of Mayo, the 24 of Love, the 13 of Schubert, the 94 of Wyatt, and the 52 of Rinker. Or excuse me, where the heck is Terry Rinker? Terry Rinker all the way back in 9th place. A very odd spot. 10th place. 12th, 11th place, a very odd spot for the veteran who found himself with the total points lead through 2 qualifying heats. There's a 52 of Rinker. It's still real bumpy out there as we go on board down into turn number 1. He sets it off the outside hip of Tyler Welch coming out of turn numbers 1 and 2. Now ducks back down to the inside, trying to find that clean water, get by the dark horse, the young man out of Minnesota, trying to bring home his first Formula One Powerboat Championship hardware, the 59 of Tyler Welch. They're doing battle. Welch just shuts the door on the 52 of Rinker. He's got to cut through the spray, go wide to the outside. Now send it on its tail. But it is all Johnny Fleming right now. Again, this is a short course here, 0.77 miles, and taking out some of that distance in the straightaway makes it very difficult to pass out here on the shores of Grand Lake. But we were constricted by the lake. There's actually a lot of shallow spots down in turn number 1 and 2. We couldn't move it any further down into the little inlet or finger on the lake here because the water was getting too shallow. Turn 1, 2.5 feet of water is all we have there in turn number 1. and we had to leave the course, the north end of the course where it is, so pleasure boat traffic could still navigate the outside of the lake without being inside our racing course markers. There's the 190 of Dustin Terry. Now he's got by the 17 of Dylan Anderson, got by him. He's now in third, and he's got a rear view mirror full of the 8 of Mayo and the 24 of Love. But great job there by the 17 of Dylan Anderson. Again, we were following our leader, the 9 of Johnny Fleming, as well as the 52 of Chris Rinker, some of that onboard footage, and just totally missed. The 17 of Dylan Anderson moving his way back up in the second. There's the 94 of Wyatt fighting hard with the 13 of Schubert as they're back mid-pack. As they continue to push, our leader, the 9 of Johnny Fleming, comes out in lane number 2. Now Anderson looking to make a move, goes down tight to the inside, sets it hard, but that's going to scrub off some speed, and the 9 of Johnny Fleming's allows him to work that thing all the way back to the pin and scrub out lane 1. No, he leaves him a lane. Oh, no, Dylan Anderson almost too tight there. Oh, Dylan, you can't hook it that tight if you want to catch the 9 of Johnny Fleming. And, boy, he's got to be even more frustrated knowing how well that thing is running. Now here comes the 17 of Anderson. He's starting to creep up on the inside. Oh, look out there. Chris Rinker blows it over down the front straightaway. He blows that thing sky high coming across the start-finish line. And we had some onboard footage of that. First, let's make sure the driver out of Texas is okay. He's out of the cockpit already. Boy, he went for a ride, and boy, look at that thing. Looks like the 52 of Rinker might find himself last out the spark pontoon. The question is do they have enough time to get him into his backup boat? Oh, boy, he has got to be frustrated. The driver out of Houston, Texas, blew that thing sky high coming down the straightaway. Looks like they're getting him into the rescue boat now. But, boy, look at the front right sponson of that composite Moore Formula One. It has got a big old hole in it. But, you know, kudos to David Moore and the French-built Moore design hull. Notice that we were talking about the Mulligard where that foam keeps the boat very buoyant in the water, even with that big hole in the front. That whole cockpit still staying out of the water. I don't even know if the 52 of Chris Rinker got wet. He may have gotten a little spray, but as far as being completely soaked, I don't think that happened at all. But, man, is he got to be very upset with himself. The wind picked up here on the shores of Grand Lake. He caught a gust and went sky high. Let's take a look at a replay at that spectacular blowover on the 52 of Chris Rinker. Boom, hits, stuffs, and then barrel rolls it back over. Let's take a look at that one more time. And here we go. Let's take a look at that onboard footage from the wreck as he's coming down the front straightaway. He starts trimming it out, and that gust of wind picked up, and then he hit the point of no return all the way over. Bang, he hits and rolls right over, and what great footage by our folks at Live Race Media. But the most important thing is the 52 of Chris Rinker is okay. That's the most important thing. He looks like he's standing upright. He's good as they tow that 52 McLean Trailers Rinker Boat World boat back to the trailer. They're going to have to get that on the trailer. Now, Chris is one of the lucky ones. Most guys don't have two boats anymore. Most guys just run one boat on race weekend. Some of them do have backup boats, but a lot of times they've elected to leave the backup boat at home and focus on the setup for one boat. But Chris has got two. He brought two with him. He tested both on Friday. The other boat is ready to go. The question is will it be as competitive as this Roswell Marine Audio McLean Trailers all yellow Moore Formula One? Now, here's the nice thing. He has two Moores. So the way the boat drives, the attitude of that boat is not going to change much because they're built by the same boat builder. Now, every boat is a little bit different, but I think you'll see a much more cohesive move from one boat to another by the 52 of Chris Rinker. But, boy, some damage there on the shores of Grand Lake here. I just hope that the driver from Texas is okay, and hopefully he can get in that backup boat for the main event here later on this afternoon. But he has done some real damage for his chase for the points title here in 23. You know, talking to Chris, the leaps and bounds he's made over the last handful of years, I guess, not necessarily surprising. He is a rinker, and they're pretty good at this thing called boat racing. But man, this was his year. He had a chance to get after it, and he was in that conversation. He knew he needed some good points this weekend so he could go into Lake Havasu and lay it all on the line, try to take home a series championship here in 2023. But as we get them all back to the dock and get them all lined back up, Now you see the teamwork that it takes, right? Not only our race operations team from here on the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series, but look at the Rinker crew, how extensive they are here. And, boy, he might have broken off the left sponson as well. That looked like it completely came off. Oh, boy, that boat is in much worse shape than I thought. I thought he just took a little bit off the right sponson, but that whole left sponson looks like it's almost completely, if not completely detached there. You see Neil Barclay, John Schubert, race director and co-owner of the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series here, is out there. But, man, what a rough. Yeah, you can see that entire sponson's completely snapped off. That more Formula One, boy, that's going to take some heavy lifting from a repair standpoint. I don't know if they're going to send that boat back over to France to get repaired and bring it back for the 2024 season, or if that boat's going to be repairable. When you start getting damage that close to the center pod and the safety capsule, boy, and they're bringing some debris, and you can just see there's just chunks snapped apart as he blew that thing as high as I've seen anybody blow over in a while. Let's take a look one more time at that replay of the 52 of Chris Rinker going over at in excess of 115 miles an hour. As you see there, again, they're just got the drone there kind of going over the footage. Here we go. Let's take a look again. As the 52 of Rinker comes into view right here. He's already taken off. That gust hit, and it just shot him like a rocket. And honestly, if he wouldn't have stuffed the boat, the boat would have probably sustained a lot less damage, but stuffing it down in there, which is, thankfully the 52 of Chris Rinker wears that Hans device. But look at that. What a great job by David Moore. I hopefully in France, Mr. Moore, you're watching, because that's a great boat build right there. The driver didn't even get wet. You see he's going, he's got it trimmed out, and then bam, a gust hit. And before he could even really react, it was all over. And then he comes down, boom, stuffs it nose first into the water. And look at the extensive damage on that Moore Formula One. You can see the foam core in there, the composite. That's going to be a ton of work for that Rinker racing team. There's the left sponson of the boat, almost completely detached. There it goes. It just falls right off. They're just trying to get the boat out of the water right now and have it balanced well enough on the trailer so it stays on the trailer. Once they get it back to the pits, I can imagine you'll see them strap that boat down to the trailer for transport back home to Texas after this race weekend. But, man, that's got to be frustrating for the 52 of Chris Rinker. But here's the best part. He's fine. He was talking. Totally, he's going to get checked out by the medics. But kudos to not only the boat design, the safety measures that all of our drivers take. All our drivers wear Hans devices, and they are strapped in with 6-point safety harnesses. The cell inside that boat can withstand a very high force, severe impact while protecting the driver and keeping him safe. That's why you've seen almost all of our drivers, actually every driver here, is running an all-composite boat. And the all-composite boat does two things. A, you can withstand a little bit more bumping, but B, the composite around the cell being the same material really helps disperse the energy, the inertia, and take that off the driver. Now, you don't want them too rigid. You don't want them too hard because then it pushes the force completely back onto the driver. But these boat builders today doing a great job of finding that balance point between rigidity for safety but not too rigid, and allowing the boat, right, to come apart and disintegrate and all that inertia and all that force instead of applying that on the driver. So they're going to get it back there and have him checked out, and we might be able to get a chance to chat with him. I don't know. He might be feverishly working to get that backup boat on the water, so that might not be something we can have happen here, but we're already getting them lined back up here for qualifying heat number 3, the remainder of this 8 minutes plus 1 lap. We're just a few minutes in, so for some drivers, this is great. Terry Rinker, loving this. Rusty Wyatt, absolutely ecstatic. Johnny Fleming, on the other hand, super upset. Not a fan of this at all. And boy, the wind's really picking up today. We had almost no wind yesterday. So these guys hadn't expected this at all today. I didn't even expect the wind to pick up like this. And you know, when you're flying basically an airplane wing with a motor attached to it on top of the water, wind can be your arch nemesis in the Formula One class, especially with such high speeds. And it's going to definitely probably change the setup and the thought process some of these Formula One drivers out here as we wrap up Q3 and set our starting grid for the main event. Oh, I just got update from race operations. The 9 of Johnny Fleming is on the trailer. So I don't know what happened after that black flag. He was running well. The 17 of Anderson was catching him. But I think he could have held him off. And I don't know if he knew the motor was going away or something was just going to exacerbate itself and get much worse as the race went on. And again, he wants to run in the final. That's the main objective here, is to bring some hardware home and collect those accelerated or enhanced point schedule that we have in the main event. And you know, he'd rather protect it here in Q3 and have it available for the final. So, boy, just the gremlins and the Murphy's Law continues to infuse itself into the Fleming Manufacturing Racing team, and they just can't catch a break here in 2023. Checking with race operations to just get kind of an update on Chris Rinker, see how he's doing out there. We might get a chance to chat with him, but again, we still got the main event. He's got a backup boat, so he might be all hands on deck with him, Neil Barclay, and the rest of the Rinker racing team to get that boat, that backup boat, ready for the final to try to compete and hang on to some of those precious points and series standings position that he'd worked so hard to get himself up to. You know, he ended up on the podium at Lake of the Ozarks. I believe he was on the podium in Port Neches. So 2 podium finishes out of 2 races so far in 2023. And to not be able to even start the final would decimate his championship hopes here in 2023. All right, looks like we're just waiting for final word from Chief Referee Doug Ray. Looks like we're resetting a buoy. After looks like something might have happened down there in turn number 3 in the third qualifying heat. We might have had somebody take out turn 3 down there at the far north end of the course.
Somebody took it out. Don't know yet.
All right, looks like somebody's going to be a lap down. We don't know yet who it is. Again, I don't know who it is. The referees are fully aware of who took out the buoy down there on the north course. We've got spotters that watch each corner, so they don't watch the race. They watch each corner to make sure they know exactly if there are any infractions, who those infractions are properly assessed to. And so they're out there getting that turn 3 reset on the north end of the course. So we've got all the drivers lined up and ready to go. As soon as they get that buoy set, we're going to be ready to rock and roll. We're going to do it again just like we did the first time around. Modified Le Mans start, 1 minute to 20 seconds. We're going to go under starters' orders. Once we go under starters' orders, that starter's going to drop that flag. They're going to come roaring off the beach. The real question is this that lucky moment that the 17 of Dylan Anderson really needed to turn his weekend around? He had an okay Heat 1. By his standards, I would say he had a average at best Heat 2. And now he was starting to run in here 3, but we're just about coming up on the 1 minute gun. 1 minute, drivers, 1 minute. Now the 17 of Dylan Anderson on the pole. Can he use that to advantage and collect valuable points and find himself at the top of the start pontoon for our main event later on today? 50 seconds, drivers, 50 seconds. Or will the 190 of Dustin Terry get a good jump and try to get by the 17 of Dylan Anderson and put that APX maybe on the pole for the main event later on today? 40 seconds, drivers, 40 seconds. Or could it be the 12 of Sean Love outpacing his brother and champion Spencer Love? 30 seconds, drivers, 30 seconds. Or could it be the 59 of Tyler Welch or the 94 of Rusty Wyatt? Who's going to be on the pole? Let's set that starting order. 20 seconds, drivers. You're under starters' orders. He drops the flag almost immediately, and they come roaring off the beach. Great jump there by the 17 of Dylan Anderson. And the 8 of Jeremiah Mayo. As they go down into the north end of the course, sweeping around turn 3, that buoy being replaced, the 17 of Anderson. Then it's the 24 of Spencer Love. The 8 of Mayo sweeping wide to the outside. The 13 of Schubert on Mayo's outside hip. As they are laying it on flat. Now here comes the 10 of Terry Rinker wide to the outside. As we are going to have them on top of one another here in a moment. As they duke it out here with 3 minutes, 35 seconds, plus 1 lap remaining. As they all make it out of turn 2. Oh, watch out there. The 94 of Wyatt going way wide to the outside. The 10 of Rinker having to make a quick pivot move, but gets by the Innisfil, Ontario native, and that's not what the 94 of Rusty Wyatt wants to see. He's got to stay in front of the 10 of Terry Rinker. He was the only person that really had an easy chance to catch the 10 of Rinker points-wise, and he's got to go way wide to the outside. Can he catch the 10 of Terry Rinker, who's now sitting in third? There's the 24 of Spencer Love, who's in second, trying to catch the 17 of Dylan Anderson. Oh, no, the 10 of Terry Rinker is on the outside of the 94 of Wyatt as they go down into turn 1, so we got a battle. Watch that battle for 94 right there on the inside of lane 1, and the 10 of Terry Rinker. The man in third is the 8 of Jeremiah Mayo. The 17, as we continue to push down the north end of the course, and that battle for third, fourth, fifth, and sixth is really starting to heat up as the 94 of Wyatt and the 10 of Rinker do battle as they go down the front stretch. Our leader, the 17 of Dylan Anderson, starting to stretch away from the rest of the course. There's the 94 of Wyatt. There's the 10 of Rinker. And now here comes the 59 of Tyler Welch. Oh, no, we got a boat over down in the far end of the course on the south end. Was that the 59 of Tyler Welch? No, it was not. It could have been the 59 of Tyler Welch. We'll get our drone down there. Boy, the wind is wreaking havoc here. Or is that the 12 of Spencer or of Sean Love? I think that might be the 12 of Sean Love, and the frustrations continue. We got to get our guys down there. Hurry, hurry, as they get them down. As haven't seen the driver come out. Yes, that is the 12 of Sean Love. Divers in the water. They're going to get down there. You take a look at that Hoffman Hull. Boy, the boats have been taking a beating here as they're going to get that flipped over. Remember, we said that water's really shallow down there at that end of the course. Now they're getting the boat up on its side, get that driver out of the water, and get him out of that cockpit there. Look at our safety crews just ascend on the 12 of Sean Love, and it looks like his airbag went off, which is good. That airbag, a safety feature inside that Hoffman composite Formula One, and honestly, I believe should be a standard in tunnel boat racing across the world, as it's a great mechanism to keep the driver out of the water. Sometimes you're going so fast in these boats and you hit so hard that it knocks you out for a couple of seconds. It's a part of racing. It happens. And so that airbag allows the driver to stay upright out of the water while they may be unconscious for a second or two, right? You get your bell rung, just like a boxer. You get your bell rung sometimes, get a bit disoriented. Nice to have those safety components. Rick Hoffman puts in those very safe, very durable Hoffman Formula One composite boats. But boy, this wind is just wreaking havoc with us here down at Grove, Oklahoma for Sunday's racing. And, man, we had the 52 of Chris Rinker blow over. Now the 12 of Sean Love go over. I don't know if we're going to be able to finish qualifying heat number 3. We might just call it with just about a minute and a half plus 1 lap left here. That's why we run a minute-based timing system versus a lap-based timing system. That minute-based timing system allows us to alter our schedule if we do incur some things like this. You see the driver, Sean Love, wet, frustrated, but looks like he's okay as they got to get that 12 boat upright, and it looks like we might be calling that a heat. We might be calling that a heat. Yes, we are. Just get official word. So your winner of qualifying heat number 3 out of Nashville, Tennessee, running for Anderson Marine, the number 17 of Dylan Anderson. In second, the other half of the Clover Construction Racing Team, the 24 of Spencer Love, and rounding out the top 3, the 8 of Jeremiah Mayo. But here is the biggest part of that. The 10 of Terry Rinker finishes 5th. The 94 of Rusty Wyatt finishes 4th. I believe we might see the 94 of Rusty Wyatt, the man who won round 2. and looking to go back-to-back here in round number 3. If he could go back-to-back here in round 3, he's going to really put a huge wrinkle in that season point standings, and I think he's going to head into our final round in Lake Havasu City, Arizona, with a huge boost of confidence and a whole ton of points, and really going to be slugging it out for that title. And we haven't had a Formula One Powerboat Championship Series winner from Canada ever, and we haven't seen a Canadian driver win a Formula One race in a very, very long time. You got to look back to the days of Ted Gregouche. Now, Mark Major was a phenomenal competitor, but when he was running Formula One before relinquishing the wheel to the 94 of Wyatt, he was with the likes of Terry Rinker, Chris Fairchild, our CEO, Tim Siebold, and some of the most decorated drivers the sport has ever seen were the guys he was going up against. So had some great podiums, but never was able to capture a series title. Was the 17 of Mark Major back when he was running. And you can see them get that boat up. See that safety airbag. What a phenomenal piece of equipment. I believe that was originally designed by Guido Cappellini in the DAC composite hulls built out of Italy. It was then adopted by Siebold Tunnel Boats when the Siebold family was still building tunnel boats. And a lot of the manufacturers of Formula One race boats have really started to fall in line because it gives you so much more time, right? With the water, the biggest thing is getting the driver up to a place where he can breathe. They have onboard air. They have the ability to be under for a little while and be safe. But the sooner we can get the driver out of the water in any capacity, it's better for everybody. So love those safety features built within those Hoffman design hulls. You see them on the Hoffmans. You see them on the composite crafts. You see them on the Babas. You see them on the Molgards. It's very much a standard for today, and we love to see that continue in the future, and they'll continue to develop new and different safety techniques for all these Formula Ones, as that's our biggest thing is the safety of our drivers. We won't put them out there in unsafe conditions, and things are getting a little dicey now, but I think it was more because it caught them off guard than anything else. It completely caught these drivers off guard. There was no wind yesterday. There was no wind for the first few heats today. And then all of a sudden, right before the Formula One heat, or even actually during the third qualifying heat in Formula One, that wind started to pick up, and it completely changes your setup and your approach coming down the straightaways. And it looks like the 12 of Shane Love just got a little squirrely down there in the one end. And unfortunate for the young man out of Moore Park, California. I think that's the 4th time he's gone over this year. He's unfortunately learning the hard way that ragged edge that you got to live on, but you can't go over in Formula One tunnel boat racing. But the boat overall looks okay. I would highly doubt they have enough time to get that motor dried out, get everything put back together, and get that 12 machine back on the water for the main event later on today. So the 12 day for the 12 might be done, which is he's going to be kicking himself because he was 4th in points coming in and through 2 qualifying heats. With a solid top 5 finish, he could have his best. He could have had his best starting position in the main event of any race he's competed in so far in his rookie campaign. Unfortunately, he probably got a little too excited. You know how the rookies get, right? It's like a kid in a candy store. They get all psyched up like JoJo, get real excited, all jacked up on sugar, and he just set it too hard in the corner there, snap rolled it down between turns 1 and 2. And the afternoon and the race weekend is over for the young man out of California. Well, we're going to get the rest of these guys loaded up. Coming up next, though, is the 4th and final qualifying heat in in tri-hull class here. Will the 17 and Neil Marsh collect enough points to get on the inside of row 1? Or could it be one of the Rinkers, Mason, Tanner, or Jerry on the pole here in heat number 4? Will they be on the pole for the final after a good running here in heat number 4? A lot of question marks left in the tri-hull class. who's going to come out on top? Who's going to have that inside row one hole shot, which is so important in tri-hull because clean water is your best friend in the whole world in that class. Not like it's less important in any other boat racing class. Clean water in boat racing is the key to the game. It's the biggest advantage. I don't care how fast your boat is. I don't care what prop you have. If you can get clean water and dictate where you go instead of having that dictated for you by being out in front, the advantage it provides you is absolutely tremendous. And that's why it's so impressive that you'll see halfway through a race, we got guys that are stacked right on top of one another, 3, 4, 5 boats within a quarter to a half a second of one another, considering they're all having to try to find clean water. And when you're back there in 4th, 5th, 6th, there isn't a ton of clean water to be had. All the boats in front of you have made their lines. Some of the remnants of their wash, as we call it, where that prop just churns up the water. That's a bunch of that wash is still living there, right? And water with air or oxygen infused into it by that rapidly spinning propeller makes that water have much less grip, right, or torque as that propeller spins through. It hits those air bubbles. And it's almost like it loses its grip. It loses any pull it has. And it doesn't lose it completely, but it diminishes the efficiency of that propeller in the water and really causes you to see a big drop-off in your top speed performance. So impressive that we can have so many drivers so tightly grouped together, in especially in the Formula One class. But in tri-hulls, I mean, it's always been that way. You might get one guy that'll run away from it every now and again, but for the most part, they're couple 3 wide at 2, 3, 4 different points on the course. And oh no, the 190, Dustin Terry is getting. The 190, Dustin Terry having to get pushed in. He's out of the cockpit. He looks frustrated. That APX 200 is supposed to be designed oil changes and gas only. There's the 15 of Tim Kraft getting pulled out of the water. As we got Tri-Hull Q4 coming up. There's the 190 Dustin Terry. And I don't know what is going on with that Ameristar roofing. Tribute to Bill Siebold, Hoffman Formula One. But never a good thing when your driver is outside of the cockpit. I don't know if he ran it out of gas. He's been known to do that. He's a little bit of a wild card. And so Dustin at times will try to live on the ragged edge. And that may mean that he ran out of gas. He's done it before, a half-gallon light, try to get some extra punch off the dock. Might be all that it takes for the 190 to run out of gas, but hopefully that's just it, because if it's a larger mechanical problem, that brand new motor, very computer driven, right, very technological, might be tough to get that thing fixed before now and the final. All right, race fans, well, we're still getting some of the damage off the course and get the tri-hulls loaded and ready to go here. But we've got a great highlight reel from the last round of the Loto Power Fest of the Texas Tri-Hull. Let's take it a recap of the Loto Power Fest Tri-Hull Championship from back in June at Loto Power Fest on Lake of the Ozarks. All right. While we get that pulled up here, where, again, sounds like the 12 Ashawn Love went off the engine of the 190 of Dustin Terry down there on the south end of the course, and it looks like there might be some penalties assessed and things like that. It's such split-second decisions that all the time. And let's take a look at that recap highlight reel from Tri-Hulls at Loto Power Fest from back in June.
This is too much speed. The 37 of Mason Rinker goes screaming right by him.
Winner in Texas Tri-Hole going wire to wire. The 17 of Neil Marsh. Man, hey, you ran it wire to wire. You almost made it a clean sweep for the second weekend in a row. Got to feel good to call yourself the 2023 Motor Power Fest Texas Tri-Hole.
This place is amazing, man. I mean, look at it. It's awesome. Man, we're not worried about the back-to-back stuff. That band is pretty safe in Michigan right now. We all know that. We came around. We got 2 in a row. We won a championship. We won the Nationals. I think they know we're here, dude. We're loving this stuff. This Texas Tri-Hole, they might call it the Michigan Tri-Hole.
All right, a great recap of the win at Lodo Power Fest by the 17. The dude coming straight out of Hemlock, Neil Marsh. He's going to have to hopefully have another solid weekend here in the fourth and final qualifying heat. And if he can go back-to-back, could possibly put a stranglehold on a repeat performance of the series championship. He is your defending champion from 2022, looking to go back-to-back here in 2023. Can he do it again here with a great run in qualifying heat number 4? Our tri-hulls after we got the course cleared, and we got the course cleared, and we've got all the debris off the course. Unfortunately, there were some yellow cards assessed due to some unsportsmanlike conduct, and some penalties assessed due to the wreck there based on who caused it. Looked like it was actually the 12 of Sean Love. Center punch the motor of the back of 190 Dustin Terry, which is why he was dead in the water. You saw after the third qualifying heat when we called that heat after the second wreck and we brought everybody in, that 190 Dustin Terry had to be pushed onto his trailer, and that was frustrating for him. Both the 12 of Sean Love and the 190 Dustin Terry having a bit of a words with one another, and we run a tight ship here. And, if you give these guys an inch, they'll take a mile. And so we try to squash that stuff right away. They're both heated. They're both hardened competitors. The 12 of Sean Love probably more upset with himself than anything else. Obviously, as human beings, a lot of times we outwardly project our own internal frustrations. He was 4th in points coming into Heat 2. He had allowed his brother to get by him, and for two brothers racing together, that's the first and foremost, right? I'd much rather beat my brother first than maybe even take a heat win first, right? He was really looking to be the top boat on that Clover construction team, and boy, it's all over now because I don't think you're going to see that 12 boat back in the water here this weekend as. That boat has the bottom side of that boat has seen a lot of sunshine in 2023. But when you're as competitive as the Love brothers are, and you're the rookie, and you're out here with so many tough competitors in the Formula One class, you've got to live on that ragged edge. And that ragged edge is a very fine line that you have to dance on. And if you step over that line, that's when some unfortunate things can happen. Chris Rinker, for a split second, either forgot where that line was, or because the racing conditions changed, that line moved on him, and he wasn't able to react quick enough, and that's where we saw that spectacular blowover down the straightaway. Now, I've been told They are already in the pits. They've got the backup boat rigged. They're working to make sure that it's all good to go. It sounds like we might see the 52 of Chris Rinker back in the final, but he's going to start last off the start pontoon. Not the position he wants to be, but he's just hoping to gain some points to keep himself in the conversation. Right now it's repair mode. It's catch-up mode for the 52 of Chris Rinker. He's going to be driving with a chip on his shoulder, with some attitude out there. But he's going to have to keep in mind where that line is for the main event so that he can hopefully bring it home in one piece and collect as many points as possible, because we've got the likes of Rusty Wyatt and Terry Rinker and Jeremiah Mayo and Dylan Anderson and Spencer Love that are all right in that hunt, just on top of one another for that series championship here in 2023. All right, let's take a look at that starting lineup for the fourth and final qualifying heat here in the Tri-Hull division of the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series. Starting first off the start pontoon on the inside of row one, the number 6 of Dustin Terry had a great run yesterday, but has really struggled since then. I don't know if he was assessed any penalties out there, but he finds himself first on the inside of row one. On the outside of row one, boy, he's having a rough year. Probably if you were to ask Jerry candidly, probably his worst year in a Tri-Hull in more than a decade. But he also hit 80 years old this year. So you show me an 80-year-old that's still running around in a race boat at 65-plus miles an hour, especially with the violent nature of these Texas Tri-Hulls. And 99 times out of 100, I'll call your bluff. But when the 10 is Scary Jerry Rinker behind the wheel, you can't call the bluff, because the octogenarian is out there doing battle with kids, with people younger than his grandkids. His grandkids are out there. He's racing against them. He's actually got one right behind him, Kitty Wampus, from him, the inside of row 3, coming third off the start here in the final qualifying heat for Tri-Hull, the 52 of Tanner Rinker. Fourth off the start here in Tri-Hull on the outside of row 2, that's the Meade, Colorado native, the 93 of J.B. Jensen, running for Go Boat Racing and Island Lake Marine. On the inside of row 3, the 26 of Briston Sherman. On the outside of row 3, the 69 of Cole Mullet Wearing in that mullet machine. On the inside of row 4, the other third of the Rinker Racing contingency here in Tri-Hull in 7th, 37 of Mason Rinker. On the outside of row 4, the dude coming straight out of Hemlock, the number 17, your reigning champion, Neil Marsh. 9th on the outside of row 5. On the inside of row 5 is the 13 of Grant Schubert. And on the outside of row 5 is the DD1, the rookie, Andy Miller. Now, we lost the 88 to Josh Wells. I had a chance to talk to him. He was running in third, blew a motor, and he's out for the weekend. We've got them all lined up here with our Pace jet ski ready to get going, waiting for word from Chief Referee Doug Ray. When he drops that green flag, we're going to go under racing conditions here in the final qualifying heat for Tri-Hull. Let's set our starting grid for the main event here in just about an hour in Tri-Hull. As they drop that green flag and take off, it's the 6 of Dustin Terry on the inside, the 10 of Jerry Rinker on the outside. But, boy, we've got some of those faster boats starting to move up here and down into turn number 1, and they are all over each other down there in the south end of the course. Look at them banging around, slamming into one another. And coming out is the 6 of Dustin Terry. But here comes the 52 of Tanner Rinker. Can he go back-to-back here? He knows he's going to have to do that if he wants to be in a good position for the final. He goes down tight to the inside, trying to get on the inside hip of the 6 of Dustin Terry. Now coming wide to the outside of him is the 10 of Terry Rinker. Oh, look at there, getting together is the 93 of J.B. Jensen and the 26 of Briston Sherman. As they continue to push down the front stretch, sitting in fourth position is the 17 of Neil Marsh. He's moved up a couple of spots here in the early runnings. There's the 13 of Grant Schubert, mired way back in 10th position, looking to get by the 37 of Mason Rinker as he comes up on his inside hip, but a little bit too tight of a turn. Didn't allow him to get up side by side. He's just living right off the wake of the 26 or 37 of Mason Rinker. So out in front, still hanging on, is the 6 of Dustin Terry. Wide to the outside, running that fast lane on the outside, but he's leaving the short way around the course for the 52 of Tanner Rinker. Then there's a 10 of Jerry Rinker. He gets real wide coming into turn number 1. He's got to back it way off, go way wide to the outside. And I think we might see another boat sneak down to the inside. Yes, we see the 17 of Neil Marsh. There's the 13 of Grant Schubert. He's now moved up a few positions. Still fighting with the 37 of Mason Rinker on his inside hip there and staring down the barrel of the number 93 of J.B. Jensen. There's the 17 of Neil Marsh. Now he's making the move on the 10 of Jerry Rinker. There's too many Rinkers. I get him confused sometimes. You get too many Rinkers with first names starting with a letter T. With the 17 of Neil Marsh now getting wild, pushing hard, able to get by the 10 of Scary Jerry Rinker as they go down. Oh, no. Is that the 52 of Tanner Rinker? Spins out down in turn number 1, and here comes the dude, the 17 of Neil Marsh, up on his outside deck. As they go side by side, drag racing down the back straightaway. Oh, what a frustrating turn of events for the 52 of Tanner Rinker. He was running really well and competing with the 6 of Dustin Terry, trying to get that top spot here in Q4, but he spins out with too hard of a turn down in the south end of the course. And the 17 of Neil Marsh is able to walk right by him, and so does the 10 of Jerry Rinker. Now the 52 of Tanner Rinker a half a lap ago was in second position. Now he's shuffled all the way back to fourth. There's the 37 of Mason Rinker coming off, go wide to the outside. The 13 of Grant Schubert. He's got that onboard camera, fighting with the 26 of Briston Sherman and the DD1 of Andy Miller. And oh no, it looks like the 93 of J.B. Jensen pulling off the course, having some motor issues on that Island Lake Marine machine, and his Q4 is done. That's not going to do him any favors here, as we see the 13 of Schubert now sweep it out of the turn there. That's that yellow buoy you saw there is the turn number 2 on our tunnel boat course. So they only run 2 pins here on the Tri-Hull division of the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series. Just 2 laps remaining as you see the 13 of Schubert do battle with the 26 of Briston Sherman. As our leader continues to push hard, the 6 of Dustin Terry way out in front. As they go down the back straightaway, the 17 of Neil Marsh. Can he catch the 6 of Dustin Terry here? We've only got 2 laps remaining. When Dustin comes back around, we're going to see that green flag go down, the white flag come out. The 6 of Terry now walks it across the start-finish line. He sees that white flag, and he knows he's got one more lap. Can he hold off the 17 of Neil Marsh? I think the veteran that is the 6 of Terry will do that. Now here comes a move by Tanner Rinker. Goes down to the inside, getting back up into third. That's huge for the young driver out of Houston, Texas, as he goes side by side with his grandfather down to the south end of the course. They're continuing to fight here. The 26 of Sherman and the 13 of Schubert fighting hard. They're now coming out of the south end of the course. Is the 10 of Rinker and the 52 of Rinker, but right now, ladies and gentlemen, taking qualifying heat number 4, bookends here in qualifying for checkered flags, the number 6 of Dustin Terry. In second, the number 17 of Neil Marsh. And oh no, the 52 of Tanner Rinker spins out again down there, and taking third, the 10 of Jerry Rinker. Tanner falls all the way back to 6th position, finishing in 4th position, the 69 of Cole Mullet-Wearing, then the 37 of Mason Rinker, followed by the 52 of Tanner Rinker, the 26 of Briston Sherman. Great job there, holding off the 13 of Grant Schubert, and rounding out the field, the DD1 of Andy Miller after the 93 of J.B. Jensen had to pull off the race course in this 4th and final qualifying heat. So our starting order is set for the Tri-Hull class. The question is, who's going to be on the inside of lane 1? Will it be the 17 of Neil Marsh? He's about the only person that wants to see that. Or could it be the 37 of Mason Rinker? Could it be the 69 of Cole Mullet-Wearing having a great performance, really consistent, a 3rd, a 4th, I think a couple of 5ths? It could be him out in the inside of row 1, or maybe the outside of row 1, and that might be what he needs to bring home a title here in his rookie season for the 69 of Cole Mullet-Wearing. Hopefully we get a chance to chat with our qualifying heat winner, the number 6 at Dustin Terry. Boy, I have a feeling that that drive was fueled by a lot of frustration from Formula One as he got into it with the 12 of Sean Love. But, man, he used that to his advantage here in qualifying heat number 4 in Texas Tri-Hull, as he really pushed that thing hard. He used that outside line, forced the 52 of Tanner Rinker to live on the inside, and he definitely was not prepared for that inside line so tight around the turn, spinning out twice. and having himself at one point right at nipping on the heels of the 6 of Dustin Terry, who was the eventual winner. But the 52 of Tanner Rinker, your winner from Heat 3, shuffled all the way back to 6th position after a second spin out on the final corner of the race. He's got to be super frustrated. But the 6 of Dustin Terry's got to feel good about himself. It's been a while since he's been in the Tri-Hull, and he hops back in. And, talking to him earlier this weekend on Friday when we were getting ready, doing tests and everything, I was like, hey, Dustin, how foreign do you think it's going to be being back in the Tri-Hull? He goes, I've been running Formula One boats for 4 years, and I still got more laps in a Tri-Hull than I have in a Formula One. So he said it's like riding a bike for me, man. I'm used to getting in that thing. I'm used to running a Tri-Hull. It's where he cut his teeth in boat racing. The whole Terry clan were once all three dominant forces in the Tri-Hull class back when we called it Texas Tri-Hulls, and real comfortable to be back in the cockpit of that Texas Tri-Hull machine. As we're going to get a chance to chat with him there. Now, up next, it's finals time, baby. Yes, sir. The finals are here, ladies and gentlemen. Coming up first, the Formula Lights are going to be out there for their main event here and crowning a champion in the inaugural Boats, Beats, and BBQ here at Grand Lake, beautiful Grove, Oklahoma. A great event put on by the awesome folks at Mid-America Outdoors. We're going to take a quick commercial break, hopefully come back. Never mind. We're going to hold off on that because it looks like making his way down here is the number 6 of Dustin Terry, joining the Tri-Hull ranks here in Grove, Oklahoma, and taking bookend victories here after a win in qualifying heat number 1. Had a rough Q2 and Q3, but joining me now, your winner from heat 4, the 6 of Dustin Terry. Dustin, was that fueled by some anger for some other racing incidents that may have gone on in other classes earlier today?
No, man. If you start in the front in Tri-Hull, you should finish in the front. It's a good boat setup. I think Neil was still coming along there, so I don't know that it's great yet. But it's like riding a bike, man. I've done that Tri-Hull. I've got more laps on that than anything. And it's been about 10 years, I guess, and it's fun to get back in it. It seems to be working well. But, yeah, I guess the heat before that in F1 just falls under the category of stuff happens,
Yeah, for sure. It seems like your demeanor's a little bit better than it was about 15, 20 minutes ago, but time helps dissipate that stuff. But, you try to use that as fuel for the future. And obviously you had a rough Q2, rough Q3 in your estimation, kind of mired back in mid-pack here in the Tri-Hull. But it looks like it might be a dogfight between you and the 17 and Neil Marsh come the final. You talked about the clean water, but, boy, with that 17 machine being real fast, what are you going to have to do besides finding clean water to try to maybe bring some extra hardware for the Outlaw team back home to Louisiana?
Well, so whenever it comes to Tri-Hull finals, it's 20 laps. That is one thing that I remember, is that it's a survival game, and every lap counts, every corner counts, even though you don't think it does. I've been back before. I've been in last place and gone up to first by just slowly chipping away. And as long as you're there and you don't give up and settle in, that's one thing. But we'll see how my endurance does by that point.
For sure, man. Yeah, I think that was no more evident than the 52 of Tanner Rinker. He was up on your outside hip. He was pushing you hard. And there's that line we talk about in boat racing, right? You got to live on that line, but you can't live over it. He went over that line not once but twice, ended up going all the way back to 6th position. So really hits home with what you're saying about having every lap counts, every corner counts, and really pushing your way to the top.
Yeah, and I mean, big thank you to JH and all those guys. They put this boat together for me. Or not necessarily for me. They brought it to the race, and then right at the last minute they go, hey, there's a Tri-Hull. Do you want it? And there was a 26 on it, and I ripped the 2 off. 6 was my original number, and I've just been having a ball with that thing. Everything that's F1 is high intensity, high tension. Everything about it is just on the edge all the time. This Tri-Hull is kicking back and having fun.
Right on, man. Well, hey, go back in the pits, have some fun. I know you might have some more work to do on your F1 setup, but at least even if you can't get the F1 machine back on the water after the tangle up there with the 12 of Spencer Love, you can hopefully bring home some hardware in the Tri-Hull class. Good luck having a battle with Neil Marsh and the rest of these knuckleheads in Tri-Hulls.
I didn't hit Spencer. We ran
Sorry,
into Sean.
Yeah.
So
my bad. Those Love brothers. I get it. As I was saying, I was just saying there in the tri-hole, these rinkers, they got so many names, it's hard to keep them all straight.
Yeah.
We're starting to get more of that. Same people, different first name, different same last name makes it tough sometimes for a spaz like myself. But hey, man, great job out there running, and looking forward to the battle between you, Neil, the Rinker clan, and all the rest of you knuckleheads in tri-hole. I know you guys are going to put on a show for them.
Look, if I don't get a trophy today, I guess this is my opportunity to thank my sponsors, Ameristar, JH Performance Boats, Yates Electric, the whole Outlaw F1 team. And this place is fantastic. Grove, I mean, man, please bring us back. This was an amazing event. And F1 Powerboat, thank you guys, Mid-America, for putting on this event. This place is awesome. It's crazy, and we've been having a ball. We don't want to go home.
For sure. Absolutely. A great way to spend your Labor Day weekend. Good luck the rest of the day. That was the winner from qualifying heat number 4 in the Texas Tri-Hull, the man they call the Dust Man out of Houma, Louisiana, running for Ameristar Roofing, Yates Electrical, and Outlaw F1, jumping into a Tri-Hull this weekend and showing those the rest of the guys in Tri-Hull, hey, listen, guys, it may have been a while, but like I said, it's like riding a bike on this thing, okay? I'm real comfortable in a Tri-Hull. He jumps right back in, does some testing on Friday, and becomes a force to be reckoned with. But right now we've got the Formula Lights. We're getting them loaded in the water. And as we get them lined up for their main event here, we're getting the last few boats on the water. Let's take a look at a recap from the last race in Formula Lights at the 2023 Port Neches Riverfest.
Drivers are under starter's order. Turn number 4, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together, taking a checkered flag in qualifying heat number 3 out of Atlanta, Georgia, number 18, Jason Nelson.
All right, race fans, welcome back here as we're getting these Formula Lights lined up for our main event.
20 seconds, drivers are under starter's order.
And the 2 of Travis Thompson.
Wisconsin, and the Screaming Eagle Machine from Atlanta, Georgia. Checkered flag back to Atlanta, Georgia. First of all, Jason, how's that feel, man?
Whew, feels good, man.
All right, a recap of the last race in Formula Lights, and we got a doozy up here coming up here as we've got our final grid set, and we're ready to rock and roll. Let's take a look at those season point standings as they sit coming into the Boats, Beats, and BBQ here on Grand Lake. Those season point standings are going to get shaken up a little bit. So far out in front, Mark Schmierbach with 281 points, and Jose Mendana with 252 points. Followed by the 3 of Travis Thompson. And then there's the 14 of Tyler Peterson in that 4th position with 230. Followed by the 18 of Jason Nelson, another one of those drivers. So 5th, 6th, 10th, 11th, and, all wrapped up in accidents at the National Championships, and only a couple of them able to make it here. But we're ready to go. We're getting ready to go here. 1 minute drivers, 1 minute on the pole. Out of Miami, Florida, running for Mike Scott Plumbing. Can he leapfrog our season points leader, the number 21 of Jose Mendana Jr.? 50 seconds, drivers, 50 seconds. After a phenomenal Q2 and Q3 here on Sunday, the 14 of Tyler Peterson has vaulted himself up into second. Can he get into conversation for the season standings with a win here today? 40 seconds, drivers, 40 seconds. Then it's the 35 of Schmierbach. He spun out in between turn 1 and 2 in the final qualifying heat. Now he's mired all the way back in third on the start pontoon. 30 seconds, drivers, 30 seconds. Then it's the 29 of Jared Jensen, the 78 of Marshall Gildermaster, and the 27 of Steve Lee. Let's crown a champion of Formula Lights. 20 seconds, drivers, you're under starters orders. A flag is up. He drops the flag. They come roaring off the beach. A great jump there by the 21 of Mendana. Can he get up on plane and make it to get a whole shot here in the main event off the 35 of Schmierbach? He gets an amazing jump as well. The 14 of Tyler Peterson, not the best jump, but better than last heat. Now the 35 of Schmierbach, deck to deck with the 21 of Mendana. As they go down into turn 1, he's got to leave a lane for Mendana. Mendana now comes out in front. Look at the 29 of Jared Jensen up into third position, going deck to deck with the 14 of Peterson. As the 21 of Mendana makes it wide out of turn number 4. Now we start lap 1 of this main event here in Formula Lights. This 15 minutes plus 1 lap main event, almost a little over twice as long as any of our qualifying heats. Oh no, the 78 of Marshall Gildermaster off the screen, but he's down on power and is having to move way on the outside of the course. But we got a battle going on for the top 3. There's a move by the 14 of Tyler Peterson. He goes down tight to the inside. Can he get by the 35 of Schmierbach? What a move by the young man out of Minnesota. He goes down to the inside and walks it by the 35 of Schmierbach, and here he comes on the outside, pushing hard to try to hold the 14 of Tyler Peterson at bay, and not a chance, but the 14 of Peterson just gets doused down by the 21 of Mendana coming out of turn number 2. Great move by the veteran out of Tampa, Florida. There's a 78 of Marshall Gildermaster. The rookies had a rough weekend, and it's all done here as he pulls off the race course, going down big time on power. Now here comes the 29 of Jared Jensen. What is going on with the 35 of Mark Schmierbach as he's way off the pace, and the 29 of Jensen makes a move down tight to the inside, and he's duking it out with the 35 of Schmierbach for that final spot on the podium here early in this 18 minutes plus 1 lap main event in Formula Lights. Oh, we are going to have a dogfight on our hands. Oh, no, the 29 of Jensen picks up the buoy down in turn number 2, and that is got to be frustrating for the driver out of Colorado. He saw the 35 of Schmierbach, and he's like, oh, this is my opportunity to get some hardware. And he lost focus for just a minute, and it's all over. And that's all it takes, a split second. Oh, and we got a red flag on the course as he took out the turn buoy down there, and this is not what the 21 of Mendaña wants at all, ladies and gentlemen. Him and the 14 of Tyler Peterson were in a dogfight, but he had the control position out in front, able to really drive the 14 of Peterson all over the course, and because the 29 of Jared Jensen takes out turn number 1, we got to go red flag, and it looks like hopefully the 78 of Marshall Gildermaster might be able to have some redemption here and get that Formula Light back out on the water. He's turning it back around. Okay, so he gets to get back in the fight here. It looks like he's still fighting those trim pump issues. Something fierce, man. He has not been able to figure that out as we get the rest of the drivers going down here. Now let's take a look at that replay from Jared Jensen in that split-second decision that cost him a spot on the podium potentially. Bang! He's just trying to stay tight to the inside, and he didn't take out one. He took out both buoys down there in turn number 1. Picked one up on the pickle fork. I think he got excited, right? He's a young driver. He got excited down there in turn number 1. He knew he had a chance to overtake the 35 of Mark Schmierbach, which is not something that happens very often at all in Formula Lights. He's your 2-time defending Formula One Powerboat Championship Series champion, and he's looking to go back to back to back here. He might have 3 or 4. He's been such a dominant force in Formula Lights for the last decade that he's collected so many trophies. It's hard for yours truly here to keep them all straight, but they got to get that turn 1 buoy placed back out to where it was before the 29 of Jared Jensen took it out there in the finals here after we had an unbelievable hole shot by the 21 of Mendaña. Him and 35 of Schmierbach, deck to deck. I mean, 2 inches between those two boats going all the way down the back straightaway. Mendaña keeps the inside lane, gets out in front, and then all of a sudden the 14 of Tyler Peterson comes out of nowhere. That boat has got some insane speed on it after they figured out the setup issues they had to correct after he got tangled up in I think it was a 5-boat wreck at the APBA National Championships in Springfield, Ohio last weekend. Thankfully, he's got a team that has a fiberglass shop back home in Minnesota. Springfield, much shorter drive than Grove, Oklahoma, so they made their way back from Springfield, Ohio, immediately stripped the boat apart, spent all week. I think the paint was still drying when they pushed the boat into the trailer for the trip here to Grove, Oklahoma. It was dry by the time it got here. It took them all day Friday in testing. And even yesterday in time trials and qualifying to really figure out that setup. They said they tinkered with everything last night, had a ton of help from a bunch of different teams, even one of their fellow competitors, the Mendañas, which is how boat racing operates, and really doing a great job out there today. And he could take his first win here in 2023 in the Formula Lights class if he can get a good hole shot against the 21 of Mendaña. All right, we're going to get him lined back up on the dock. We're just waiting for the last boat or two, and we'll be back underway here with finals for the Formula Lights class. Coming up next, the Tri-Hall final, and then wrapping up the day, the big boats, the Formula Ones on the water, the crown champions here at Boats, Beats, and BBQ. We'll take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with the conclusion of the Formula Lights final.
VP Racing Fuels has been the official fuel of racing for over 45 years. But VP isn't just race fuels. VP offers a wide range of oils, additives, and our new Stay Frosty coolants to help keep your street car, tow vehicle, or weekend warrior running at its best. VP products are engineered to keep your vehicle running smooth and looking great for your daily commute. With our octane boosters, fuel treatments, and quick detailing products. Explore VP's full product line at vpracingfuels.com.
Kicker Marine Audio, the official series audio partner of the Formula One Powerboat Championship. Kicker Marine Audio produces real marine audio components, meticulously designed, engineered, and built with durability to withstand the harsh marine environment and the power to be heard with clarity, even in an open-air environment like F1 racing. Racing Communications, a great partner of ours because they are radios for racing. Seaway Marine, your one-stop dealership for current and vintage outboard and stern drive parts. They specialize in hard-to-find and no longer available new old stock for Johnson, Evinrude, Yamaha, Gale, Mercury, Force, and Chrysler outboard motors, as well as OMC, Merc Cruisers, and Volvo stern drive and engine parts, as well as Chris Craft. Seaway Marine, your number one Johnson and Evinrude parts distributor, your one-stop boat motor shop. Find them at seawaymarine.com. The official sponsor of the Formula Lights class here in 2023 on the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series. Axel Sports, the official provider, apparel provider of the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series. Your passion drives us to excel. Moto Marketing Group, providing award-winning and advertising and strategic marketing solutions. If it has an engine, they can make it scream. All right, we're ready to rock and roll here. Back, we've got them all lined up. 1 minute drivers, 1 minute. Ken, the 21 of Mendana, get another great hole shot and hold off the hard-charging young driver out of Minnesota. 50 seconds, drivers, 50 seconds. Or will the 14 of Tyler Peterson be able to take that Moligard machine to the top and get himself in the season standings conversation? 40 seconds, drivers, 40 seconds. Or will the 35 of Mark Schmierbach figure out what has gone on in that Formula Lights machine? Can he take another victory and really separate himself from the field? 30 seconds, drivers, 30 seconds. Or could it be the 27 of Steve Lee? Or can the 29 of Jared Jensen make a way around the whole course and find himself on the podium? Let's wrap up and crown a champion here in Formula Lights on this restart. 20 seconds, drivers, the flag is up. They drop the flag, and let's take a look what happens here. Nice jump there by the 21 of Mendana and the 35 of Schmierbach and the 29 of Jensen, 14 of Peterson. Same type of start, but oh no, 35 of Schmierbach got a little bit of a better start here. Can the 21 of Mendana hold tight there? They're going to squeeze out the 14 of Tyler Peterson, and that's going to be brutal for him as he's got to back way up, but now he's able to go down tight to the inside. The 35 of Schmierbach on the outside hip of the 21 of Mendana. Now here comes the 14 of Peterson back into the conversation. There's the 27 of Steve Lee hanging back in fifth position. As they come screaming down the front stretch, we got a dogfight right now down the front stretch between the 21 of Mendana and the 35 of Schmierbach. Here comes the 14 of Peterson down tight to the inside. Man, that Moligard turns well. Really does a great job of going pin to pin in the corners and makes that course so much shorter. If it weren't for him getting pinched out and doused on the start there, he might have found himself all the way up in second. And here he goes for the move again. Just cannot keep that 35 machine on a top speed run through the corners down inside. And so now they got to go side by side with the 14 of Peterson having the advantage on the inside, but the 35 of Schmierbach starts to pull away a little bit as they go down to the south end of the course. But no, not enough juice for the 35 of Mark Schmierbach as the 14 of Tyler Peterson's able to recreate what he did before the restart and get down into that second position on the inside lane. But now he's got a driver that's got a lot more top-end speed and can really drive a boat all over the course. He's going to do everything necessary to keep the 14 of Peterson. So it looks like we might have a big game of cat and mouse here between the 14 of Peterson and the 21 of Mendana for this championship here in Formula Lights. As the 21 of Mendana comes out of turns 1 and 2, Peterson's got to go wide to the outside. Now the 35 of Schmierbach sitting in third, dives back down to the inside. Now remember, the 29 of Jared Jensen, because he caused that stoppage with taking out turn number 1, he is a lap down already. So actually in fourth position is the 27 of Steve Lee. The 29 of Jared Jensen is going to somehow catch everybody in the field and then come all the way back around to finish in a starting position on the lead lap. I don't know with the speed that the 21 of Mendana and the 14 of Peterson have, if that's going to be possible. Man, 14 of Peterson just keeps getting doused down by the 21 of Mendana. The Mike Scott plumbing entry, I think that's that experience showing itself. You know, Jose Mendana, I think 3-time world champion, 3 or 4-time national champion in Formula Lights. Had a time there in Formula One, has chosen to go back to the Formula Lights classes. His work demands just allowed him to, or not allowed him, but forced him to kind of pick one class and He's settled into Formula Lights. It's a class he really loves. But here comes the 14 of Tyler Peterson. He makes that inside move every time, and Mendana just, it's almost like he fakes leaving the door open, right? A little bait and switch. He's like, hey, look, I'm over here. Never mind. And he shuts that door through the apex of the turn, and the 14 of Peterson, now he's going to go back down underneath. Now watch here again. As soon as he gets through the apex of the turn, Mendana just closes the door down to the inside coming off the exit turn and continues that about 2-3 boat length lead down the front straightaway. And we are going to have this game of cat and mouse probably for the remainder of the race. The question is can the 14 of Tyler Peterson find something in there that's going to allow him to get by the 21 of Mendana? But boy, Mendana had a great turn there and really opened up a bigger lead, added a couple of boat lengths to his lead coming down the back straightaway. And now 14 of Peterson goes tight. Now he's smart. He gets through the wake prior to the apex of the turn so he can hopefully get some clean water coming off the turn to accelerate that boat up to top speed quicker so he can go top speed down the straightaway. 21 of Mendana now going tight down to the inside turn. Peterson now he's gone wide to the outside off the turn. He didn't even mess with trying to go inside on the apex. And the exit turn there down on the south end of the course there in turn number 2. So he's starting to change his attitude. He's starting to change his, his layout and how he's running this course. He's going to have to adjust and adapt to what the 21 of Mendana is doing if he's going to try to claim that top spot here in Formula Lights at Boats, Beats, and BBQ. As they go down the front stretch, it looks like the 35 of Schmierbach still holding the 29 of Jared Jensen at bay, and the 14 of Tyler Peterson starting to fall back a little bit. I think, you need such laser focus from the beginning to the end here, especially when we get to these longer main event races. They're, again, over double the length of the qualifying heats, so the amount of time you have to focus with such a precision and accuracy is exacerbated in these longer races because you have more laps, more time on the water for any potential minute mistakes to mess up or force you to alter your race setup and your attack of the race course. But he's hanging with the 21 of Mendana. Now he's in one of those positions where he's got to wait for the 21 of Mendana to possibly make a mistake, which is that's a very big ask for the Latitude Dispensary sponsored Peterson Racing team, because he is going up against a driver who rarely makes mistakes. But we say that about the 35 of Schmierbach, and boy, he made some mistakes in Q3 that put him in third versus second. And if he was in second off the start pontoon, there's a possibility that he would have been in a better position to get ahead of the 21 of Mendana, and that would have made it even tougher for the 14 of Tyler Peterson, because he would have had two really veteran drivers to get around, which is a much taller order than just getting around one. Just so much more work you got to put in to get around both of them. But the 21 of Mendana, he's found that line. He's been really repeating that line lap after lap. And the 14 of Peterson's going to be the one who's going to have to adjust his setup and his attack of the race course if he wants to close that gap, because the 21 of Mendana has been holding about that 5 boat length lap for the majority of this 15-minute plus 1 lap main event here in Formula Lights. Six minutes plus 1 lap remain here in this main event in Formula Lights. Oh no, the 29 of Jensen takes out both the turn buoys again down in turn 1. And now he's dead in the water, so we're going to have to keep an eye on it. It looks like we might have to yellow flag. And will the 14 of Tyler Peterson get another shot at this? I don't know. We're going to wait for Chief Referee Doug Ray to make a decision down there. Are we going to go down to a 3-pin course? I think we may go down to just a 3-pin course to stay on schedule. And that could also be a huge benefit to the 14 of Tyler Peterson, because we were talking about the way Mendana was attacking the corners, right? Leaving lane 1 open on the entrance pin, and then right at the apex just slamming the door shut. Well, now he doesn't have 2 pins down at that far end of the course. He's just got a 1 pin, so we're down to a triangle course. As you see the 14 of Peterson push hard to the outside there. Will the 21 of Mendana be able to adapt his attack of the race course? Or will the 14 of Tyler Peterson be able to use this and change his own driving style to close the gap and eventually overtake the man out in front. They call him the Miami Madman back when he resided in Miami, Florida, moved up to Tampa. So I guess we call him the Tampa Terror now. Jose Mendana, the 21 Tampa Terror, pushing hard and knowing that, right, but he knows all this stuff. He knows as soon as that buoy's like, all right, now my approach in the corners has got to change because Peterson's going to change. And let's take a look at that replay. The 29 of Jared Jensen getting those young career mistakes out of the way in bunches as he just tries to set it hard. Again, fighting with the 35 of Schmierbach, trying to get by him, sets it too hard down into the corner, and unfortunately this time there's no restart, so he's got to move himself off the race course, out of the racing area, and his afternoon is done. Frustrating for the number 29 of Jared Jensen. That Go Boat Racing Island Lake Marine machine was running pretty well. I think we got a lot of good things in the future for the 29 of Jared Jensen. But, man, the 21 of Mendana, he's got to feel like the 14 of Tyler Peterson's like a fly. Just leave me alone. Get away from me. He just, every time he looks in his rearview mirror, that rearview mirror's got a bunch of red all over it. That Latitude Dispensary Molgar Danish-built Formula Light is just all over the place, pushing hard against the 21 of Jose Mendana Jr. As they go down the backstretch, you see that great overhead shot as the 21 of Mendana now is approaching his teammate. It looks like the 29 of Jared Jensen's actually going to rejoin the course a couple of laps down he's got to figure out a way to set that boat hard in the corner but not pick up a buoy. So he's going to go out there and try to hopefully not take out any more buoys and add to the fines that you incur when you take out a buoy here. It's every driver gets fined if they take out a course buoy during the race weekend, and he's collected 2 of them just in one race. So back out on the race course now, just hoping to get some battling in, get some laps in, because, again, he wasn't unable to make the first half of the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series here in the Formula Lights class. 21 of Mendana on that north end, same approach. Wide through entrance pin, right at the apex, slam it down to the pin, scrub up the water, cut off the 14 of Peterson, and then force him to make up that ground. Now Peterson makes a nice move there, but again, looks like Mendana has shifted his approach down there on the south end of the course now that it's a one-pin turn, and the 14 of Tyler Peterson has not been able to counter the change from the 21 of Mendana. Now see how he's staying on that wake. He's got to stay outside that hip. He's got to be a half or a quarter a lane wider. He's losing a lot of top-end speed through the corners because he's having to run through the wash of the 21 of Mendana. Now, this is not going to help things. Teammates, the 27 of Steve Lee, not really having the best weekend, but smartly stays out of the way, doesn't get in to maybe affect the outcome of the race. That's a very generous move, but a very veteran move by the 27 of Steve Lee. He knows he doesn't have his best stuff this weekend, and he's been fighting some gremlins all day. He didn't even finish qualifying heat number 2 and had some issues in heat 3, qualifying heat 3, so he gets out of the way. And the battle continues between the 14 of Tyler Peterson and the 21 of Jose Mendana Jr. 2 minutes plus 1 lap remaining here in this Formula Lights final as the 21 of Mendana holds on for dear life. Now that gap's starting to close. So the 14 of Peterson definitely has probably an extra mile an hour or so down the straightaways. Then Mendana backs way off out of the corner. Now allows Peterson to swing way wide to the outside. But then Mendana moves out. Now Peterson's got to dive back underneath. It's inside-outside cat and mouse game all day long between these two. As there goes the 14 of Peterson. He sets it too tight. He should have swept that out of the corner, slingshotting himself wide outside of turn number 2, but he decides to set it on the inside. You can see he lost about a boat length there with that move. Now he's got to stay. Now he got to get out of that path of the wash of the 21 of Mendana. If he lives in that wash, he's never going to be able to catch the Tampa Terror in that Mike Scott plumbing machine. As they come down out of turns 1 and 2, well, I guess just turn 2 now, or turn 1, because turn 1's gone. But the 14 of Peterson keeps moving. There we see 1 lap remaining. We're on our final lap here for our leader, the 21 of Jose Mendana Jr. Can he take home the victory here in Formula Lights as the 1 lap remains here? The white flag is out. Go fast. Turn left. Just a handful more times. Can we have one last gasp from the 14 of Peterson? He goes wide to the outside. Now has to dive back underneath. This is the 21 of Medania. Moves way wide to the outside. Keeping those RPMs up. Forcing the 14 of Peterson to cross back through his wake as he goes into turn number 3. Comes off 3. Out of turn number 4. Ladies and gentlemen, take in the inaugural Boat Speeds and BBQ Formula Lights Championship here in Grand Lake in Grove, Oklahoma, out of Tampa, Florida. Running for Mike Scott Plumbing, number 21, Jose Mendana Jr. And in second, after a valiant battle, running for Latitude Dispensaries, the number 14 of Tyler Peterson. And rounding out the podium, running for Pizza Inn, the number 35 of Mark Schmierbach. Well, that was a great battle between the top 2 boats here in Formula Lights. I have a feeling we're going to see a 7, 8, 9 boat battle here in Texas Tri-Hull, or in the Tri-Hull class, as these guys are going to be duking it out hard here on the shores of Grand Lake. What a great run that was for the 21 of Mendana Jr., and he's going to get an opportunity to take a nice parade lap with that checkered flag in hand here for his inaugural victory at Boats, Beats, and BBQ. You see there the 27 of Steve Lee dousing down his teammate, the 21 of Mendana, as he sits out there congratulating his teammate, as Mike Scott Plumbing team is going to get to bring some hardware back to Florida. I don't know if the 21 of Mendana might have just lightened up the tank to the point where he ran out of gas there, but normally you'll see these guys come in and get a checkered flag. Let's see where that's at. Oh, no, and it looks like, boy, talk about a stroke of luck. The 21 of Mendana's battery dies, but after the restart. So he wins the race, but once he shut the boat off after the race was over, the battery was dead, so he can't restart the boat that he just won the title with. Boy, talk about a stroke of luck. Imagine if we would have had a restart there after the second time the 29 of Jensen took out turn number 1. The 21 of Mendana probably would have been left on the beach and finished in 5th position. So he's got to be very thankful that we made the decision to stay on track today with our program and said, hey, guys, you just got to run a 3-pin course. We're running out of buoys here between the 15 of Travis Yates yesterday, or not 15 of Tim Kraft yesterday, the 29 of JB Jensen, or the 29 of Jared Jensen, not JB. JB's in the Tri-Hull. As well as one of our other Formula One drivers. I think we've lost 6 buoys here this weekend so far. So, we don't have an infinite number of buoys. And so we decided to keep going. And thankfully for the 21 of Mendana, we were able to he was able to keep running and didn't have to engage that battery. Wow, what a run it was for the young man out of Tampa, Florida. He's been doing this a while. I call him a young man. He's like 2 years younger than me, and he's been racing these things since he was 18. So, I got to start. I guess I can't start calling him an old man yet. He doesn't have a gray beard or anything, but definitely been doing this a while. And the driver from Tampa, Florida, put on a heck of a show. What a great run between him and the 14 of Tyler Peterson. And let's hope we're going to have some of that same highly competitive racing action here for the conclusion of our 2 classes here. Up next is the main event in Texas, Tri-Hull. And while we get the rest of the Formula Lights off, we get the Tri-Hulls rolling, we're going to take another look back. Let's take another look back at the Lodo Power Fest and how everything shook out there that set us up for the round 3 here at Boats, Beats, and BBQ in Grand Lake. Let's take a look at a highlight recap of the Lodo Power Fest in the Tri-Hull division. All right, well, while we're watching some highlights from the tri-hulls at the Loto Power Fest, let's chat with our champion here, the man from Tampa, Florida, taking home the checkered flag. Well, Jose, you know, it's been a frustrating couple of years for you, especially as you duked it out with the 35 of Mark Schmierbach, but that white Grand Prix finally found its whole shot. You held him at bay, and, man, that was a fun race between you and the 14 of Tyler Peterson.
Yeah, first of all, it's a small field, but that was a extremely competitive field. I mean, that was a tough fight both the other race there. But yeah, it was a great race with Tyler and Mark, as usual, clean. But you know, everybody knows that boat is probably the fastest boat out here, but it struggles coming out of the whole shot. We've been working on that tirelessly, and I gotta say, this weekend we still got a little more to go, but we're in the game. We're good enough now where we can cause some more.
Yeah, man. I mean, it was a phenomenal run, and I mean, I had a chance to talk to the 14 of Tyler Peterson, and you actually helped your hardest competitor this weekend fix his boat last night to find that speed that he got today. You know, and as much as these wins mean, what does it mean to you to be able to help out your competitors and the family that is the Formula Lights class?
Yeah, no, anytime anybody is in need, you help them out, no matter how close you are to him or not. But yeah, he's a great kid, young man. He's got a hell of a ride, and he's doing a darn good job driving. He made me work for it. We were 4 or 5 minutes ago there. I felt I was losing a little bit of steam. I don't know if it was battery or, but we were losing about a half-second a lap, and I saw him coming in the mirror. And then there I went to defensive position.
Yeah, for sure.
You actually losing turn one actually helped me because it bogged him down enough in that big old Mogard.
Yeah, and it seemed like, you know, you had a plan, right? You would go wide into the entrance pin, kind of leave him a lane, kind of bait him to the inside, and as soon as you got to the apex of that turn, you just shut the door on him, and you just kept forcing him to cross your wake. Was that the plan going in if you got out in front?
Yeah, my strength, going back to my phone, my strength is cornering, especially a Grand Prix. It corners on a rail. The whole thing was, I call it the sucker hole, open up, let them come in, and then you hose them, gain the 2 or 3 boat lengths back. But yeah, he made me work for it. That was a lot of fun. If we had another restart, would have been out of
If you had another restart, I don't know if that battery would have worked, and you might have been left in the dust watching everybody else come off the beach. So probably very fortunate that race directors decided to keep the race running after the 29 of Jensen took out turn one for the second time.
It was either a battery or I lost ground because, I mean, trim and everything else was working fine on the boat. It's just no fire. So I'm thinking it's ground, but we were very fortunate there. But you got to catch those breaks in racing sometimes. And tell you what, though, this is an amazing venue. But, glad we were here. Timmy John put it on, and I would definitely come back. And
well, now I believe this will catapult you above the 35 of Mark Schmierbach, and you will be the leader going into the final round of 2023 at Legends of Havasu down in Lake Havasu City, Arizona at the end of October. It's been a few years since you found yourself in that position. Got to feel good to be back on the top of the heap, but now you're going to have everybody coming at you in Havasu. What does the Mike Scott Plumbing team need to do for the rest of the year to bring home that Formula One Powerboat Championship Series championship back to Florida?
Yeah, it's all about, making sure the power heads are good, and I tell you, get the Grand Prix to come off the line like it did this weekend. We get a little more out of it. We're going to be right up there.
Right on in. Havasu is going to be a lot tougher. We lost a large chunk of our field due to some heavy carnage at the APBA National Championships just a week ago. Teams didn't have enough time to get everything back together, except for the 14 of Tyler Peterson, but it helps when your crew chief owns a fiberglass shop. But we're probably going to see a much deeper field, and especially when we get some of those West Coast contingencies, there's a lot of fast guys out there. But, hey, you deserve it. You ran a heck of a weekend. You held off a young driver who's on the rise, and I have a feeling is going to be a thorn, and you are in Mark's side, and the rest of the class for many years to come. But for right now, you're on the top of the heap, and you get to call yourself the inaugural Boats, Beats, and BBQs Formula I champion.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And anytime you get to win a race against great competition like that, it makes it even more sweeter. But
absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, your winner here in Formula Lights. We call him the Tampa Terror these days. Out of Tampa, Florida, the 21 of Jose Mendana Jr. Congratulations, sir. Go enjoy it. You deserved it. All right, that was the 21 of Jose Mendana Jr. What a great run it was between him and the 14 of Tyler Peterson. Like he said, man, if we would have had another restart, I don't know what would have happened out there. It would have been real difficult to hold the 14 of Peterson off, but I guess a couple of lucky breaks, right? Turn one actually allowed him to hold the 14 of Peterson at bay, as he stated, and the fact that we didn't restart because he either lost ground or lost battery functionality, and he wouldn't have been able to fire on that final restart. So, like you say, in racing, you do need to get a couple of breaks. But he was able to be on the right side of him. The 29 of Jared Jensen maybe on the other side of those breaks with a couple of unlucky breaks down in the corner. But we're ready to rock and roll here in just a few moments for this main event in the tri-hull class. We're just looking for our rookie Andy Miller's having some issues in that DD1 machine. And they're working feverishly to try to get him back on the water so he can compete in his first final in tri-hull as a rookie. His first race here, the driver's out of Disney, Oklahoma, here on Grand Lake. So he knows this water very well, running for Rockin' SM Services and A&M Tree Service, the DD1 of Andy Miller, getting everything ready to go here. As you see, they're working tirelessly to try to get that. All right, trying to see if they can get that thing fired and under power. Looks like they've got it running again. So now they got to get that engine cowling on and get the DD1 back out on the north end of the course so we can start this 2x2. But let's take a look here while they get that motor cowling back on at our season point standings through Lodo Powerfest coming into this weekend here at Boats, Beats, and BBQs. And then we'll look at our starting lineup, and that'll really give you an indication of where things could fall after round 3 here in Grove, Oklahoma. All right, out in front, no surprise. Your defending champion with 850 points, the 17 of Neil Marsh. Boy, after today, if he can pull home another victory, it's going to be real difficult to catch him. Sitting in second position and not having the greatest weekend here in Tri-Hull is the 13 of Grant Schubert with 622 points. Third here in the Tri-Hull class, he's a rookie. They call him Mullet. His boat he calls the Mullet Machine, the number 69, Cole Waring. And he's had a solid showing this weekend. I think, if something happens, maybe the 13 of Schubert or Neil Marsh or somebody gets tangled up with some of the other guys, you could see the 69 of Cole Waring gain some valuable points and potentially get back up into that conversation. But they've all got to knock off the 17 of Neil Marsh. But in third, the 69 of Cole Waring. In fourth, 1/3 of the Rinker contingency here with 602 points, the 52 of Tanner Rinker. In fifth was 530 points, the 10 of Jerry Rinker. And in sixth, the 37 of Mason Rinker. As we cut back to the DD1 of Andy Miller there, he's got the helmet up. Sorry about that. Let's take a look again and finish through the rest of the standings. In sixth position, it's the 37 of Mason Rinker with 510 points. In seventh, the 88 of Josh Wells. He was running well, but blew a motor, and his weekend is done with 425 points. Then the 8 of Corey Walker, who was unable, he had a prior commitment, unable to make it this weekend. Then in the 9 of Briston Sherman, the 10 of Darren Ware, the 11 of Aaron Green, who again had some issues and wasn't able to make it, and the 12th, the 37 of Chris Rinker. He actually ran a couple of races early in the season, jumping into a tri-hull. Your normal Formula One driver. Speaking of Formula One, I did get word the 52 of Chris Rinker will be getting into his backup boat, starting last off the start pontoon, but will be in the main event to collect those very valuable points for the season championship. But we've got them all milling down on the north end of the course, and we're just moments away from crowning a champion here in the Tri-Hull division of the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series here at Boats, Beats, and BBQ. And don't forget, we've got the Outlaw Chef's Choice People's Choice competition here as a part of the KC barbecue competition that's been going all weekend long. But here we go. We get them lined up down the north end of the course, and we're getting ready to roll here as our Pace jet ski with Jared behind the helm, leading them out front. Once he peels off, you're going to see them go side by side on the inside of row 1. It is the 17 of Neil Marsh on the outside of row 1. It looks like that is the 13 of Grant Schubert. So 1 and 2 in points. Here are 1 and 2 on the start pontoon. They drop it, and we're underway. We're going to have a battle, I have a feeling, between the 13 of Grant Schubert and the 17 of Neil Marsh. Then it's the 37 of Mason Rinker, the 69 of Cole Mullet Waring, the 10 of Jerry Rinker, the 26 of Briston Sherman, the 93 of J.B. Jensen, the 6 of Dustin Terry, and the 52 of Tanner Rinker. It looks like the DD1 of Andy Miller was unable to get it started here in the main event, and he is out. What a frustrating way to end your inaugural race as a tri-hull driver. But look at the 17 of Neil Marsh, man. He has opened up a lead right now, and he's going to try to drive that thing all the way to victory. And if he can get a victory here, it's going to make it real difficult for these competitors at the final race of the season at Legends of Havasu the last weekend of October to catch the leader in the points as he looks to go back-to-back in 2023. But there's the 13 of Grant Schubert, and the 37 of Mason Rinker starting to sneak up on him as he's sitting in third. Just little over a second behind the 13 at Grant Schubert, but look at the lead, over 2 seconds already. Neil Marsh has pulled away from the rest of the field, and it's just amazing to me how you get that clean water, right? We talk about it so often. It's that smooth water. There's the 6 of Dustin Terry. What a great move down to the inside he does on the 69 of Cole Mulla-Waring, who's sitting in 5th position. We got a battle right now for second between the 13 at Grant Schubert and the 37 of Mason Rinker. Mason's got to go way wide to the outside, cutting across the way, deep into the straightaway. That's going to really take off a lot of speed. But this is exactly what the 17 of Neil Marsh was hoping for. He's pulling away, and the 13 of Schubert's having to play so much defensive driving to hold off the 37 of Mason Rinker that Schubert's not really focusing on that. Oh, look out there, right up on the engine cowling of the 13 of Schubert is the 37 of Mason Rinker. As they go down the front straightaway, now the 37 of Mason Rinker moves to the outside. And the 13 of Schubert's pushing. Now look, here comes the 10 of Jerry Rinker. He knows exactly what to do there. Boy, the 13 of Grant Schubert pushing the 37 of Mason Rinker way wide to the outside. Now Mason dives down in between him and his grandfather, the 10 of Jerry Rinker. And now here comes the 6 of Dustin Terry up into the conversation. Mason, look at that. What a move by the 37 of Mason Rinker. Hey, says Schubert, get out of my way, boy. I'm here to bring some hardware back home to Houston, and I'm not going to let you stop me. And now the 10 of Jerry Rinker and the 6 of Dustin Terry have moved up beyond the 13 of Schubert. He's all the way back in the 4th. Oh, no, the 52 of Tanner Rinker is down in the corner there, and the frustrations continue, and there we got a red flag on the course. And that is exactly what the 13 of Grant Schubert was looking for. Oh, no, the 93 of J.B. Jensen is pulling off the race course. I don't know what's going on with his tri-hull, but the 52 of Tanner Rinker, there's the 93 of J.B. Jensen. I don't know what's going on with his tri-hull, the young man running for Island Lake Marine, the Water Valley Company. And Go Boat Racing out of Meade, Colorado there is just sitting off the side here. I don't know what's going to happen, but that's got to be frustrating for the 52 of Tanner Rinker. He went down into the south end of the course and spun out and actually got the ropes of the buoys wrapped around. It looks like the lower unit on the back of that 52 McLean Trailers Rinker Boat World machine. Boy, Neil Marsh is not happy, ladies and gentlemen. He was way out in front. He had what? A 12-second lead over the 37 of Mason Rinker and the 10 of Jerry Rinker. Almost a 13-second lead there. So not what the dude was hoping for. But you know what? He's used to it. He's done it before. He'll do it again. All right, well, now after on this restart here, everybody's got to go check who they're 2x2 side-by-side with. It looks like the 93 of J.B. Jensen decided he was good, still good to go, so he's back on the race course. It looks like, I don't know if the 52 of Tanner Rinker was able to get his boat ready to roll. The DD1 of Andy Miller, he's out of the cockpit, and he's done for the day. No, it looks like the 93 of J.B. Jensen's putting it on the trailer. Frustrating weekend for the Jensen boys, both Jared and JB. Jared collects a handful of fines and some beautiful bright orange buoys that he gets to bring home with him that he punched a hole in. And his brother, the 93 JB Jensen, running in tri-hull, has to put it on the trailer for the last 16 laps of this main event here in Texas Tri-Hull. I can't get it out of my language. It's just Texas Tri-Hole to me. It's where it was invented. For the longest time, it was exclusively where it was run. It's become a national class. You look now, there was a national championship last weekend, and the APBA national championships for our governing body. They always put on a championship race weekend so that those drivers that may race in different series can come to one place and race against one another, because some guys choose to race certain series and they choose not to race other series. And so it's kind of a meet in the middle of everybody. But the 13 of Grant Schubert won there, and he's struggling here as he got passed by the 37 of Mason Rinker there on lap number 2. The real question is can the 13 of Schubert get a better run here on this restart and get by the 37 of Mason Rinker? The real question is, though, can anybody catch the dude? But they're lined up here at the north end of the course. They're going 2 by 2. Let's take a look at it. On the inside of row 1 is going to be, that was out in front. That's the 17 of Neil Marsh. Then on the outside of row 1, looks like, is that the 13 of Grant Schubert? It is. I don't know why he's. All right, so we got the 13 of Schubert still in second, probably because they hadn't finished a lap after he got the 37 of Rinker moved over. Oh, looks like. So 37 of Mason Rinker in third, the 10 of Jerry Rinker in fourth, the 6 of Dustin Terry in fifth. Here we go. We're back underway. Can the 13 of Grant Schubert get a better run against the 17 of Neil Marsh here? After the restart in this Tri-Hall Championship here at Boats, Beats, and BBQ on Grand Lake, the inaugural Boats, Beats, and BBQ here in beautiful Grove, Oklahoma. As they all go down into turn number 1, they all wad up down there. The 17 of Neil Marsh again comes out like a rocket. And the 13 of Grant Schubert looks to his right, looks to his left, and he sees a couple of Rinker boats running up the backside of him, trying to track him down and move themselves up the podium one spot if they can get by the 13 of Grant Schubert. The 17 of Neil Marsh, again, figuring it out. He loves that clean water. Who doesn't? But look at the 10 of Rinker. And the Jerry Rinker just leaving the 13 of Grant Schubert in the dust on the outside lane, but did he go too wide? As the 13 of Schubert sweeps it out, he's able to hang on for just a second, but here comes the 10 of Jerry Rinker making a move, and he's going to be able to get by the 13 of Grant Schubert. What a good run for the 10 of Jerry Rinker as he's having probably his best race of the 2023 season so far. Hasn't been up on the podium really so far this year. Now there's the 37 of Mason Rinker. Now here comes the 6 of Dustin Terry. 37 of Mason Rinker moves way too tight to the inside. Has to lose a lot of speed. The 13 of Schubert able to stay out in front, but the 10 of Jerry Rinker, can he track down the 17 of Neil Marsh? Will the dude relinquish this stranglehold here in the final of Tri-Hole? What a great move there by the 6 of Terry. He gets by the 37 of Mason Rinker. Now he's looking to track down the 13 of Schubert as they go down the front stretch. Can he get by the 13 of Schubert, who's sitting in third position as they go down into the north end of the course? Oh, what a great turn there by the 6 of Terry. Stays down to the inside. The 13 of Schubert realizes he can't run that tight line here. His setup is just not handling that tight inside line well, but he's able to get up on the deck. Is the 6 of Terry with the 13 of Schubert as they go down to the south end of the course. Terry takes a tight turn. The 13 of Schubert having to stay wide. Can he get enough top speed to move over in front of the 6 of Terry and cut him off, wash him down, and try to make this north corner a little bit easier for him? Doesn't look like he can until the very last minute, and he finally does. But again, he can't. He has to go so wide. Oh, no, he went way wide and loses some power. And the 6 of Dustin Terry just says, see you later, homie, and blows right by the 13 of Grant Schubert, who's now deck to deck with the 37 of Mason Rinker as they fight for fourth. The 13 of Schubert's all over the deck of Rinker. They get together down there. Rinker gets hosed down by the 6 of Terry, but still able to move by the 13 of Grant Schubert down on the south end of the course. Here comes our leader, the 17 of Neil Marsh. Oh, no, it looks like the 93 of J.B. Jensen was able to get it going again. It might have been, I don't know who it was on the trailer, but he must have figured something out and was able to get back out on the race course and join the field after the start. That's good to see the 93 of J.B. Jensen still out there competing with the 37 of Mason Rinker, now in fourth. Can he get on the podium? He's going to have to catch the 6 of Dustin Terry. And like Dustin said after his Q4 win, he has had more laps in a Tri-Hole than any other racing machine he's ever been behind the wheel of. So it's like riding a bike for him, and he's trying to ride that bike all the way to a podium finish here in the Tri-Hall Finals here at Boats, Beats, and BBQ on Grand Lake. Brought to you by Mid-America Outdoors, a great company out of Jay, Oklahoma, just south of here. Great partner of ours that we started here, a great partnership in 2023, not only here, but also our final event of the season, the Legends of Havasu at Lake Havasu City, Arizona, but a 5-second lead by the 17 of Neil Marsh over the 10 of Jerry Rinker. And it looks like we might have a boat down. Oh, no, the 37 of Mason Rinker goes down in the water off the front straightaway. And he was fighting hard, but his day is done for the young man out of Houston, Texas. I don't know if that was when he got together with the 13 of Grant Schubert, but his day is over. God, that's got to be frustrating for the young driver. Oh, no, we've got another boat down there. That's the 52 of Tanner Rinker. So the Rinkers are dropping like flies. They've only got one boat left here in the class, and that's the 10 of Jerry Rinker, who's hanging on to second right now. And boy, the 13 of Grant Schubert's way off the pace as we see the 17 of Neil Marsh move. He's now getting passed by the 69 of Cole Mullet-Waring. You see Schubert shuffled all the way back to fifth, now sixth position as the 69 of Cole Waring is able to get by him and move up into fifth position. Sorry, up into fourth now, because that's right, because the 37 of Mason Rinker fell off the course, so now Dustin Terry in cruise control because he's got a big gap to try to catch the 10 of Jerry Rinker as he sits in third, and the 10 of Rinker has got to catch the 17 of Neil Marsh, which is a tall order for the man out of Michigan as he's really got a stranglehold on the Tri-Hall class, not only last year but this year as well. There's the 13 of Schubert. Relinquish that spot to the 69 of Waring as you see him go by. Now coming up here just momentarily, you're going to see our leader, the 17 of Neil Marsh. 7 laps remain here in this 20-lap main event in Tri-Hall. As the 17 of Marsh goes down into the first turn, sweeping it through the south end of the course. Oh, no, the 6 of Dustin Terry goes dead in the water, and that means Cole Waring is up on the podium in third place. Could the rookie bring his first hardware home? Oh, look out, we got battles all over the place. We lost a buoy down in the far end of the course. The 6 of Dustin Terry goes by, and you know what he said? It's a race of attrition. These boats take such a pounding here in these main events for 20 laps. The 6 of Dustin Terry loses it. He's now sitting on the outside of the course, and Cole Waring might end up on the podium for the first time. And, well, the 17 of Neil Marsh is in a place he's real comfortable as he comes off the south end of the course with 6 laps remaining here in cruise control. About a half a straightaway lead over the 10 of Jerry Rinker. And now the 17 of Neil Marsh looking to lap the 5th place boat, the 13 of Grant Schubert. Boy, we've lost a lot of guys. We lost Mason Rinker, Tanner Rinker, Andy Miller, and JB Jensen all. Well, JB's out there, but he's quite a few laps down. And the 52 of Tanner Rinker was able to get it fired again. It's amazing to me, these trials, they'll go dead in the water and then they figure out how to get it fired again, or maybe they let the motor dry out. But the 17 of Neil Marsh looking to lap the man sitting in second place in the season standings, the 13 of Grant Schubert. That's not what the 13 of Schubert wants, but he knows he does not have the setup today. I don't know what is causing that, but it is just not his day for the young man out of Richmond, Texas. Oh, you can see there's what's going on. Oh, no, the 10 of Jerry Rinker went over. There's a huge log in the water that took out these boats, so that possibly what happened to the 37 of Mason Rinker and the 6 of Dustin Terry. Potentially, that's a very dangerous. We're going to have to make sure to get that log off the race course, but we can't have anybody out there right now. They're just going to have to know it's there and try to avoid it. Hopefully the 17 of Neil Marsh doesn't pick up that log on the front stretch as he comes down. Can he navigate around that log? Because if he hits that thing, his day might be over, and he's clearly the class of the field here so far this weekend. 5.5 second lead over the 10 of Jerry Rinker. And then the 69 of Cole Waring is even further back, trying to stay on the lead lap in that third position. There's the DD1 of Andy Miller. Looks like he's just watching from the water here as he tried to get that thing fired again on the restart. And just the gremlins continue to pop up in that brand new tri-hull for the DD1 of Andy Miller. There's the 17 of Neil Marsh getting a little wild because he's starting to get back on some of these back markers and starting to catch him in the corners. 2 laps remaining here. Next time around, that 17 is going to see the white flag. as he's going to continue to lay the hammer down and assert his dominance here as he has for the last 2 years in Tri-Hall. Again, he's your reigning champion from 2022. He came in with almost a 200-point lead here into the third round of the 2023 season. Excuse me, this is actually their fourth round. We had a preseason test and tune for Formula Ones and Formula Lights. Was the first race for trials, but there you see the white flag wave out off the right edge of the screen as the 17 goes by the start-finish line. Go fast, turn left. Just a couple more turns for our man from Michigan. And Ken, the man they call Neil Bob, brings some more hardware back to the great folks of Hemlock. He's got so many phenomenal sponsors from back home. They don't do business down here, but they support what the 17 and Neil Marsh does and how hard of a competitor is, and they love to see him out here. They watch all of the live streams. Hey, everybody out in Hemlock, Michigan, hope you guys are hooting and hollering and cheering for your guy who's looking to take home another checkered flag as he comes out of turn number 4, sweeps it wide. Ladies and gentlemen, you're a winner here in the Tri-Hall class, the inaugural Boats Beats in BBQ, number 17, Neil Marsh. And in second position with a valiant effort and his best finish in the season, out of Houston, Texas, running for McLean Trailers, number 10, Jerry Rinker. And we've got our final battle going now between the two rookies, the 69 of Cole Waring and the 26 of Briston Sherman. They're side by side. As they come out of turns 3 and 4, Waring hanging on out in front as he goes wide out of turn number 4. In the final spot on the podium, in the number 69 machine, out of Richmond, Texas, Cole Mullet Waring. In fourth position, the 26 of Briston Sherman. In fifth position, way to hang on there, J.B. Jensen, and get back out on the water. He finishes in sixth position. In fifth, the 13 of Grant Schubert. And in seventh position, the 52 of Tanner Rinker. Eighth, the 6 of Dustin Terry. Ninth, the 37 of Mason Rinker. And then DD1 of Andy Miller, unable to start here in the main event. But what a great run for the man they call the Dude. The 17 of Neil Marsh, great run here. And collecting another checkered flag. I believe that might be a clean sweep on the season. No, he didn't win the opening round in Freeport, Texas, but I believe he took home the title in Port Neches, Texas. You can hear the crew. They're real excited. They're going to hand him that checkered flag, and he's going to rip around the course, and deservedly so. Very excited. He's very excited. This is the 17 of Neil Marsh. He's going to hop back down to the cockpit and run her down to the north end of the course, as well as down here in front of our spectator area. Don't forget, it's the country portion of Boats Beats and BBQ here on Grand Lake. And ladies and gentlemen, hear you one more time. Put your hands together. Your winner here in the Tri-Hall class here at Boats Beats and BBQ. Oh, take a look at that giant log that was out in the water. That took out a couple of competitors here, and that is a rough piece of water. Oh, they pull out another log. They're finding logs all over the place here as these Tri-Halls really churn up the water here on Grand Lake. And actually, just talking out, the 69 of Cole Waring just finding out that he ended up on the podium in third place, and I about jumped right out of the boat, but my camera crew's telling me as we see the 17 of Neil Marsh go all the way down to the north end of the course to thank all the fans and spectators that were joining down there on the water portion of the viewing area. But that log, you saw that second chunk pull out. Well, at one point, that was a whole log. But the 37 of Mason Rinker and the 6 of Dustin Terry split that thing in half and probably did some pretty big damage to their Tri-Hall motors, lower units, gear cases, things like that. What a great run for there's the 26 of Briston Sherman. He's slid in. You see him super excited as Cole Waring is his first podium finish in Tri-Hall. The man they affectionately call Mullet. Looks like he might have cut the hair a little bit, which is weird because, he's got that Mullet nickname. But, man, coming in here right now, hopefully having a chance. Let's take a look at the unofficial results. Your winner of the 17 of Neil Marsh. In second position, the 10 of Jerry Rinker. In third, the 69 of Cole Waring. And you see that only 4 boats made it on the lead lap. So rough out here on Grand Lake. And, of course, when you lose 2 competitors to the same log down the front stretch of the course, that makes it real rough out there. But the 17 of Neil Marsh going to park that boat, hopefully come up here and have a chance to chat with me here. But what a great run for the Dude out of Hemlock, Michigan. He's got so many sponsors, so many people that help make it possible for him to come down here. His wife, his kids, his brother-in-law, his sister, the whole family, the whole clan comes whenever they can. They make it a great weekend. They have a ton of fun, but they work really hard, and they focus really hard on all the details. Our chaplain, the great Lori Vidal, who has been with us since the inception of our series, but has been a powerboat racing chaplain for the better part of almost 3 decades. He had a great line this morning, right? Focus on the details. Just don't try to find the big things. It's the details that really separate, right? The small details tend to have the greatest impact. And the 17 of Neil Marsh hugging his wife and his crew and very excited and going to come up here and hopefully have a chat with us with checkered flag in hand. All right, well, now he's making his way up here to a very familiar place, hanging out with me after the end of a tri-hall race weekend. Ladies and gentlemen, your winner here at Boats, Beats, and BBQ, Mr. Neil Marsh. Man, Neil, you just keep rolling, baby.
Oh, man, I got to give my hats off to this Jerry Rinker. Was he second?
Well, we'll see.
Man, that boy, he was chasing me down. I'm like, oh, come on, Jerry. Let me get this one. I finally got by Grant. He's been my nemesis, right? On these restarts, I had the pole last weekend for the national championships, trying to defend this nice patch here, and he got me on the second lap. Man, came around me, and I finished second. No harm in that, no disgrace, but I really wanted that win, and we lined up just like last week. I'm not going to give him the inside again, and that's probably the best 2 corners of my life, both those, the start and the restart.
Yeah, and it looked like the 13 of Schubert's just setup was a little bit off today, but yeah, you got out in front, and you know, you had the octogenarian chasing you, the veteran Jerry Rinker, probably one of the most decorated tri-hole drivers in the history of tri-hole driving. But boy, right now it is the Neil Bob show.
Well, you know what? You can't discredit our setup, Tom.
No, not at all.
We went after this one. We never make big adjustments, and we got a phone call from a Texan that said, hey, you might want to raise that engine up a little bit, and you will be faster. And see if you like it. And guess what, Jim? I love you. We got it, buddy. You built a heck of an engine, and we'll see you at the next one, dude. Thank you so much.
For sure, yeah. Jim Ottinger, one of the master motor builders here in the tri-hull class. A lot of guys lean on Mr. Ottinger for their motor builds, and he understands the specifications. But you still got to get out there, and you still got to drive that thing like you stole it. And you also got to make sure you don't run into a log like that took out a couple of your competitors there, the 6 of Terry and the 37 of Rinker.
I saw him hooked there. I thought he was going over.
Yeah, that's, but hey, sometimes you need a little bit of luck and a lot of skill. And boy, man, you got a stranglehold on the season standings, and you got a chance to go down to Lake Havasu City for Legends of Havasu to call yourself back-to-back holder of the belt as you look to go back to defend your Formula One Powerboat Championship, Tri-Hull Championship. And what does that mean to you, all your amazing sponsors, and the family that you have back home in Michigan that allows you to come down here and do these great things in a Tri-Hull?
I mean, it means a ton. It's tough for us to get out here. We put a lot of travel time in, just like everybody else, but it's not easy, So I got to thank my crew, my wife, my boy Brian, Jenny, Sam. Here she come. All of them, all of my sponsors, man. First of all, Maple Grill, Sefton Financial, Boarding Brothers. Oh, here we come. Best Automotive. We got B Blades, Brett. You are amazing. We got Studio 46, and we got the Garden, Grandpa's Garden. And God, I hope if you guys want to get on it, we got room for more. So come on with it. Don't think
for sure. Then you got those guys that got the River Song Lodge up in Alaska.
River Song Lodge, yeah. Thank you, Walter. I know you're up in Alaska catching all those fish, man. B-Blades, we got B-Blades down there. But my mom, my sisters, all of our fans, we got a big following. They love us, and they're staying tuned right now. They came down to Springfield last week, and we had a good time. Mother, Paula, my kids, Ellie, and Trevor, I love you, miss you. We're gonna come home with some nice checker flags and some more hardware. I missed out on last weekend. I haven't been into a race without a heat win or a final win, so I kind of felt a little neglected.
Well, hey,
maybe I need you with me every weekend. So
hey, there we go. And you know what? You got a little redemption this weekend. You got some heat wins. Not as many heat wins as you're used to, but you collected enough points. You started on the pole, and you did what was necessary. You ran that thing wire to wire. And you know what? You maybe didn't get to enjoy the rock portion of Boats, Beats, and BBQ because you had to get to bed early so you could focus and win that title.
We were floating around there in the tube, listening to Brett Michaels and Don Felder. We had a good time last night.
Right on, and now you get to have a real good time tonight because no more racing tomorrow, and you can enjoy that country portion. But we'll let you get back and hanging out with your crew and enjoying yourself, man. Congratulations on a great run here.
Thank you, Thomas. We do have to thank Grove, City of Grove, Tim Siebold, Mid-America Outdoors. Right? Thanks for this event. It is one of a kind. And, yeah, all you guys viewing in on YouTube and Facebook or wherever else we're doing, we love it. Thank you.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, hopefully you can come back and defend this title in 2024. For now, enjoy it and get geared up for that final race to see if you can't defend that belt in Texas Tri-Hall.
I'm feeling pretty good, Tom.
Congratulations, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, your winner here in Tri-Hall. They call him the Dude, straight out of Hemlock, Michigan, number 17, Neil Marsh. Boy, what a great run that was there in Tri-Hall. And now we're to the last portion of the day. The big boys, the Formula One main event here at Boats, Beats, and BBQ in Grove, Oklahoma. Just moments away from crowning a champion in Formula One. And while we wait for these Formula One drivers, let's take a look back at the last round, round 2, the Lodo Power Fest. In Formula One, a recap of how we got here to round 3 from the shores of Lake of the Ozarks. Take a look at this recap.
We're underway here in Formula One qualifying. On the inside of row 1, the 10 of Terry Rinker. On the outside of row 1, it's the 94 of Rusty Wyatt. And then it's the 17 of Dylan Anderson, followed by the 8 of Jeremiah Malin. Set up and turn now, try to find that deep water. Schubert on the inside, looking to tail that Formula One. 105, 110, 115 miles an hour. That's a 52 of Chris Rinker, the McLean trailer. Sylvan Pontoon machines on that outside lane. Out of Tampa, Florida, running for Phase 3 performance, number 10, Terry Rinker. Mike Kogazi, 11. The number 12 of Sean Love, who didn't start qualifying heat 1. He drops the flag, and here we go. They come roaring to life on the shores of Lake of the Ozarks. The 77 of the Mike Kogazi almost goes up on the deck of the 13 of... Let me hear you put your hands together, taking qualified heat number 2 out of Spring, Texas, number 52, Chris Rinker. Drops the green flag and we're underway. What a great jump there by the 94 Rusty Wyatt.
championship. Head north of the border to Ontario. There he goes. Boom. He just took off. Look at him. And look at him just skip across the top of the water. He barrels. You saw the little flash of orange there. That was that safety airbag. Drops a green flag and we're underway. The 77 of Quindazi gets a great run. Oh, look at him go by the 10 of Terry Rinker. Be a big win for this young man who'd be very, very excited to bring some Moto Power Fest championship trophy back home to Innisfil, Ontario.
You know, my cousin Mark there was up on the dock and he was getting the green flag for me. He didn't use the mic.
Good to bring some hardware back north of the border. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2023 Loto Power Fest champion out of Innisfil, Ontario, number 94, Rusty Wyatt. All right, welcome back, race fans. And I just found out, unfortunately, the 190 of Dustin Terry after an incident with the 12 of Shane Love has been knocked out of the finals. So he's going to join me here in the booth. Boy, you know, I love having you here, Dustin, but it's got to be frustrating to not to have to sit out on the beach and watch your fellow competitors run here in the main event.
Yeah, you know, we've got that 4-stroke and nothing's going on with the motor. It's just steering. So this is the first time running that new APX that I have missed a heat.
Yeah, you've been really consistent with that thing. You know, we saw let's talk a little bit about that APX while we've got some time here before we take a look at the point standings and the lineup for the main event. You know, the biggest knock on the 4-stroke, and we all know it, right, is it takes a little bit longer it takes full revolution for that motor to completely fire. You don't get that instant fire of the 2-stroke. But what have you and the team been doing to get that APX to come off the beach a little bit better?
So this weekend, we finally got the balance and weight right of the boat and the distribution of it. We've been moving pumps around and getting everything to where on gusty, rough courses like this, it can fly right where it needs to be. So we finally got all that right and started going to props. We ran 16 different props this weekend.
Okay.
And, you know, just started dialing it in, doing the testing like anybody else. And
for sure.
We had it come off hard in that third heat, but not hard enough, you know.
Yeah, and it seems like that's going to be the trick of the trade when it comes to that APX, is really redesigning propellers and the different cups and angles on those propellers is really going to be the thing that's going to help propel that APX, because again, right, that thing's fully sealed. You can't touch it. There's no jets to tweak. There's no carburetors to fiddle with. None of that kind of stuff on the APX motor, all in that completely enclosed 4-stroke motor.
Well, and ultimately it's what everybody wants it to be. Everybody's playing on the same ball field. It's a fair game. And you're not thinking, oh, is this guy running bad this, bad that? Are they cheating with this? Or they can't even touch the thing. So it is just setup and testing, setup and testing. So it's just a hard work game. And,
right.
And by the time it goes that everybody will be on the APX, because that's going to be the future of it,
for sure.
It's going to end up to where the guys who come out here, it's just hard work and props. Dave DeWalt, the guys who make all these props, are about to make even more money at that game.
Yeah, for sure. It's been a, you know, and everybody's like, well, Terry's been around in the APX for a couple of years, but you had a completely different setup with this new Hoffman. It's a different boat than the one you ran last year as a part of the Clover construction team. So did you have to kind of relearn some different things when you shifted boats and came on board with the Outlaw F1 team here in 23?
Yeah, absolutely, because what we did with that boat is it's much wider than the previous boat. So the lift that goes into that boat is substantially more. And the width of it helps the boat not to twist or pivot in turns. So last year, you saw I hit so many buoys, it was ridiculous, but I had to hang that boat was doing really well. I had to put it in situations I didn't want to be in. And ultimately, the top heavy weight of the motor would twist the boat, and it would force me into some buoys and into some bad situations. This year, proudly, I've not hit a single buoy. So knock on wood, I got one race to go, and I don't care if I hit one at the last one, because I have shown that the new boat works. Rick Hoffman built a great boat. Dylan Anderson's is coming out. It's going to be similar, and so we'll see it.
Right on. Well, yeah, let's take a look at the season standings coming in to Boats, Beats, and BBQ here through the first two rounds. It's a tight competition from top to bottom here in the Formula One class. Out in front is the 52 of Chris Rinker, but Dustin, as we saw in qualifying Heat 3, I don't know if you necessarily saw it because you were racing yourself, but a big blowover by the 52 of Chris Rinker completely destroys that Moore boat. Now he's got to go to the backup and start last off the start pontoon.
Well, thankfully for him, he got some decent points in qualifying heats today, and he did get points for that heat as well.
Absolutely.
So he's going to go out there. The boat that he's in now is still excellent, and I think it's actually going to be in his favor because today it is a little bit windier than it was yesterday, and now he has a boat that he can hang the nose a little bit longer, and these guys are all going to be duking it out. It's a longer race. He's going to have a better setup for today, I think. So I think it's going to be a blessing in disguise.
Absolutely. Second in points, no surprise there with 475 points, the 10 of Terry Rinker, a consummate professional, and he's going to be slugging it out to try to overtake the 52 of Chris Rinker for those season point standings. In third, the 17 of Dylan Anderson with 443 points. In fourth, one half of the Clover Construction Racing Team with 433 points to 24 of Spencer Love. Then the fifth position is the other half of the Phase 3 Performance Team with 418 points, the 8 of Jeremiah Mayo. In sixth, after a horrific opening round, but a great win at the Loto Power Fest with 397 points and 94 of Rusty Wyatt in sixth. And then we see the seventh, right there, you, Dustin Terry. But unfortunately, you're going to lose some ground here. Yeah, soon to be falling. In eighth, the 13 of Grant Schubert with 298 points. Ninth, the Travis Yates with 99 of Travis Yates with 293 points there. In ninth, Mike Quindazzi, who was unable to be here due to Hurricane Idalia in Florida with 280 points. Then RJ West, who had some pretty bad damage to his racing teammate, and he got hurt at the National Championships last weekend, so they had to take this weekend off. They'll be back at Legends of Havasu. Then in 12th, again, another driver who was unable to make it at the last minute due to some technical issues, the number 09 of Whitney Terry Fletcher. We take a look at the rest of the field here throughout 2023. In 13th, the 71 of Jimmy Kerr. 14th, the 9 of Johnny Fleming. Tied for 15th. There is the 62 of Chris Fairchild. Then Sean Love, Andrew Tate, Dean Comer, Jude Gaspard, Bobby Briggs, Tyler Welch, Mark Welch, Jesse Swain, and Jeff Kershano round out the field here. So let's take a look at our starting grid. We saw our season point standing going into round 3 here at Boats, Beats, and BBQ, but let's take a look at that starting order for the main event here in the Formula One class. All right. And it looks like here the 24 of Spencer Love is going to come out with the pole here. Boy, it's been a real tight race here so far, but the 24 of Spencer Love on the pole. Dustin, let's talk about how big on this short 0.77 mile course is the pole position here at Boats, Beats, and BBQ.
This pole is huge because whenever you get to this first buoy here, it's not a long run, and you start bending the whole entire course. So as it goes down to 10th place, you're bending further and further and further down this whole back straightaway. It looks like a straight line, but it's not. It's one long bend. And if you just have a pickle fork out in front, you can pretty much dictate whatever you want.
Right, yeah, and you can get that inside lane. And once you get that first corner and can try to get some of that clean water, it seems here on this race course, if you can make it to that first pin in turn number 3, by the time you get out of turn number 4, you're typically going to have probably a couple boat length lead and all that clean water.
Absolutely. There's not a lot of ground to be made up in 3 and 4 just because there is a short chute and you have to set the boat again. So if you are on somebody's hip entering into 3, it's hard to run that outside all the way around them. It's easier to do it in 1 and 2. It's a little bit riskier, but that's where accidents happen, like you saw earlier today.
Absolutely, yeah, and we saw that in Formula Lights. The 21 of Jose Mendaña Jr. kept shutting the door on the 14 of Tyler Peterson and held him at bay. But it looks like the 17 of Dylan Anderson was having some technical issues and was on the beach, was able to get it figured out. He was second on the start pontoon, so now he's got to make his way onto the start dock, but he's coming second. Third off the start dock is the 10 of Terry Rinker. The fourth is the 94 of Rusty Wyatt. I thought the 94 of Wyatt was going to end up being the pole sitter, but just narrowly by a point or two. You know, he shuffled all the way back to fourth. I think there's like 9 points separating the top 4 positions. So, I mean, as we've seen all weekend, it's been very competitive. I mean, we've only got 13 here in the final because you're on the shore, or 12 in the final because you and Sean Love, who got in that accident in Q3, are both on the beach for the final. But, I mean, out of those 12, the top 9 are within probably a second and a half of one another.
Yeah, if you looked at qualifying yesterday, I think everybody was the top 13 were within a second and a half. It was unbelievably tight, and everybody would be within 2/10. It wasn't a whole second. It was a tenth.
Absolutely.
So,
and let's talk about, you were mentioning that long chute that you got to bend through. Let's take a look at the course setup here in this 0.77 mile 4-pin course here on the shores of Grand Lake. So as we see here kind of line up, there's the start-finish line. But again, we're starting way off of the far right turn 1 and way down in there, and they're going to have to bend it all the way through. And it looks like we're about to get ready to go here. 1 minute, drivers, 1 minute. As we get ready to crown a champion here in the Formula One class. On the pole, the 24 of Spencer Love. Can he catapult himself to the top of the season standings here after Boats beats in BBQ? 50 seconds, drivers, 50 seconds. Or will it be the 10 of Terry Rinker? Or could it be the 17 of Dylan Anderson? Or also the 94 of Rusty Wyatt? 40 seconds, drivers, 40 seconds. Can the 52 of Chris Rinker come from last off the start pontoon and get on the podium and hold that points lead? 30 seconds, drivers, 30 seconds. Or the host of other talented drivers. Let's crown a champion here in Formula One at the inaugural Boats Beats in BBQ. 20 seconds, drivers, you're under starters orders. The flag is up. He drops the flag. Who's going to get the whole shot here? Oh, no, the 8 of Jeremiah Mayo gets left in the dust, and what a great run there by the 17 of Dylan Anderson. Boy, Dustin, this is going to be what he needs, but look at after the bend there, the 24 of Spencer Love kicks it into high gear, and it looks like he might get that whole shot down the north end of the course.
Spencer has amazing mid-pack speed right there.
Oh, boy, we're getting close down there. Oh, no, the 8 of Mayo's got to go over the wake there in the mid-pack, but the 24 of Spencer Love comes out on top. He slides it wide to the outside, and we got a drag race between him and the 17 of Dylan Anderson. Let's talk about that wide line. We've seen a lot of drivers use the wide line here on this short course. Is it a lot more difficult if you try to go pin to pin from a top speed perspective?
Well, ultimately, if you try to run that short line on the inside, you're going to get pinched whenever it comes down to the turn. It seems to just keep on eating on the outside, and if you can get there, you set yourself up well for each turn.
Right, and especially if you can get enough clearance like the 24 Love. He's out there in lane 2 or 3, and he just slams the door coming into that entrance pin on the north end of the course, and he's really forcing here, as we can see, the 17 of Dylan Anderson to ride through that wake. And how difficult it is to gain ground when you're in the wash of the boat in front of you?
Oh, man, it's something else, but I got to look at this race for third. Terry is putting the pressure on Dylan right now.
Yeah, man, he is all over him on outside hip. You see there the 17 of Dylan Anderson kind of moving out to lane 2, trying to force the 10 of Terry Rinker to get off his outside hip, but now we got a drag race for second and third down the backstretch. It's the 10 of Terry Rinker on the outside, the 17 of Dylan Anderson on the inside, and look at that top end speed on that phase 3 performance speed. Man, that thing can motor down the straightaways.
Man, he has got that thing figured out. Right here, he's about to pull a little distance on Dylan, but I know these guys have gone at it back and forth. Dylan's going to stick it on the inside if there's any room at all.
Yeah, and now he's got to stay short way around the course, but he can't give up that ground there. And now the 10 of Terry Rinker looking to track down our leader, the 24 of Spencer Love. And, boy, let's talk about being in that catbird seat. When you're out in front and you look in a rearview mirror and you see the likes of Terry Rinker, Dylan Anderson, and Rusty Wyatt filling up your rearview trying to catch you, what does that do to your state of mind when you're out in front here in the opening laps of a big F1 race like this here in Grove?
Ultimately, what you're doing is you're just trying to find a rhythm. It's all about rhythm. If you, for some reason, you're thinking as you're going in to set this boat, it's not going to work out for you and somebody's going to catch you. You just try to keep your radio guy thinking simple things, and you just got to stay in a rhythm.
Absolutely. There's the 10 of Terry Rinker. Now he's just 2 seconds behind the 24 of Spencer Love, but he's still the 17 of Dylan Anderson as he goes through the wash there is just a second behind the 10 of Terry Rinker. There's our leader, the 24 of Spencer Love. Now we're starting to see some of those slower boats, some of those back markers come up. That changes the complete dynamic of the race course, Dustin. What is it like when you're out in front having to navigate through those back markers, all while trying to keep the hard chargers behind you?
Well, you try to use the information that you had all weekend long. If you were fast all weekend, you did lap guys during the weekend. So you try to remember what those guys do. We all race together all year long. So Spencer Love's coming up on Tim Kraft right now. Tim's a nice guy. He's going to leave a lane. Spencer just needs to keep a rhythm and not second guess what Tim's going to do.
Right now, let's talk about the opposite side of that is once you get by him, then using those back markers as a pick. When you're out in front and you let guys by, will you see that you can kind of push them around and put them in a position almost like a pick between you and the boat behind you?
Absolutely. Like right now, if Spencer were to float that boat outside, that leaves no lane for Terry right there to swing it. So Terry stays inside and has to run that line. Now, as he gets down to this part of the turn, he's got to figure out if he wants to cross that rooster tail or not, because Spencer's going to go to the pin.
And he does go to the pin, and the 10 of Rinker looks like he does cross the wake right at the last second, slams the door tight, and obviously all that experience. It's amazing how razor thin that gap is between the buoy and the left sponson on the 10 of Terry Rinker, so tight to the pin.
Terry's dialed in this weekend. That's all you can say about it right now. Spencer's got to run up on Travis, and he just needs to do it with a ton of confidence because Terry is breathing down his neck.
Yeah, and let's talk about that in the corners, right? Sometimes you're lucky because you get the back markers down the middle of the straightaway. Sometimes you're unlucky because those back markers, you get caught, you catch up to them in the middle of a corner. How much harder is it to get by a back marker while keeping the guy behind you at bay when you end up having to pass him in the corner?
Well, it's just one of those things where you just have to focus on what's ahead. You have to focus on a small window that whatever you have, and you have to shoot that gap as fast as possible. Spencer got put in a situation right there where he had to go to the outside of Travis, and he did it with, right whenever he needed to. He didn't wait too long. He didn't try to force the issue. You take what you're given, and you hit it as fast as you can.
Yeah, and he's doing a great job here. Obviously, he's got quite a bit of experience now. He's won a championship here in the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series, and he's really leaning on that experience in a lot of racing laps against the 10 of Terry Rinker. And do you see that, right? Will different drivers have tendencies that you can lean on or utilize against them in that chess match out on the race course?
Yeah, well, it's just laps and laps and laps. So, like Spencer here, he's going to go to the pin sometimes, but he's going to run real reserve. He knows his equipment's fast. He's not going to try to take any risk of hitting any buoys or just getting out of control. Right now he's running his line. He's got his favorite radio man. He's got Bill Rucker in his ear, and you're going to just see consistent lap after consistent lap out of him.
Right on now, obviously the 95 of Mark Welch having a bit of a rough weekend here. He moves to the outside and allows the 24 Spencer Love. But right here's what we're talking about, right? Sometimes if that back marker sets in the corner and you're chasing the leader, that leader can force the back marker to go to a certain lane in the corner, and it can really make it difficult for that boat trying to catch the leader.
Yeah, it's really going to happen whenever you have a fast lap boat. A slow lap boat's not going to be much help, but whenever you have somebody like Welch there who's on pace with you, you can use it. Absolutely, you can.
All right, now here we see the 10 of Terry Rinker. He takes a chance here, making a move, going wide to the outside. And this is going to help him going in the corner because he got across the wake in the corner and was able to run clean water on that outside line all the way down the front straightaway.
Now Terry's getting in his zone. He's starting to get really comfortable. Spencer's just got to run his line and not worry about all that chaos going on behind him.
Yeah. Will you say that more mistakes happen when a driver starts focusing on where the driver is that's nipping on his heels instead of running his own race?
Yep, because I know, like Spencer's program, he's just having Bill in his head telling him that Terry is basically on top of him. It doesn't matter if he's 10 lanes back or 5 lanes back. Bill's just giving him the worst-case scenario. So Spencer's always living in that moment, and that's what's making him keep the lead where he's at right now.
Absolutely. See there, this 24 Spencer Love. Just 2.15 seconds over the 10 of Terry Rinker. The 17 of Dylan Anderson, they're sitting in third as we see the 24 of Spencer Love come off of turn number 2 as he's shuffled back quite a little bit. Then in fourth, the 94 of Rusty Wyatt. Then the 13 of Grant Schubert. And the 52 of Chris Rinker in that backup boat, starting last off the start pontoon, has moved himself all the way up to 6th. Looks like, as you predicted, he's really hanging that backup boat and flying it high wide and pushing it hard, trying to catch the 13 of Schubert and gain some extra points. Oh no, the 59 of Tyler Welch goes dead in the water down off turn number 2. Will that cause a restart, or are we going to go under racing caution, just making sure everybody's aware of that 59 boat? But boy, frustrating turn of events, because I got to say, I think the 59 of Tyler Welch turned a lot of heads this weekend when he showed up qualifying fourth in fast lap qualifiers.
Yeah, that's a real bummer for him. I know they've been working hard. They've been buying a lot of new equipment, and their equipment looks really good. Hopefully that rescue boat can get over to him and just get him pulled out of the way so this race can keep going, because, man, these guys are going at it.
Absolutely they are. Oh, no, the 8 of Jeremiah Mayo looks like he lost his rear cowling. That may have happened when he had to, at the last second on the start, dart through the spray and got punched with the spray of the boat in front of him, knocking that rear cowling off. What does that do to the aerodynamics of the boat? Does it create extra turbulence that you can feel as a driver when you lose your rear cowling?
Yeah, it's not terrible. It's just one of those things that you know something's different about the boat. You know something's off. The wind makes it a little unpredictable. It doesn't shoot quite through the end of the straightaway like you'd want it to. You just know something's off, but then you get used to it. Jeremiah's a great driver. He'll figure it out.
Right now, we do see that the rescue team was able to nab the 59 of Tyler Welch and pull him into the infield to get him out of harm's way. But now it looks like the 24 of Spencer Love's coming up on the 9 of Johnny Fleming, who's had an absolutely brutal weekend. Had a freak snapped cable that probably the best thing that ever happened was it snapped on the hot lap instead of into racing conditions. That could have been real dangerous for him. But another one of those weekends that you just kind of chalk up to the racing gods not wanting things to go your way.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad he's okay, and because he was having a great third heat, and you can even see him right now. He's got a great pace. He's just doing the right thing. He's running a tight line, and he's staying out of the way of the leaders, and just doing that thing that Johnny does.
Absolutely. Now you see the 99 of Travis Yates a little bit off the pace. I know he's struggled a little bit more with the setup, and he's still on a steeper learning curve than yourself, as you both have just chosen to go with the APX motors here in 2023. What do you think the 99 of Travis Yates is going to have to do to kind of get that program in gear here for 2024?
Ultimately, what it comes down to is Travis has got to start taking more risk with that boat. That boat's fast. We know it's fast. He's at the point now where the balance is correct on it. We just got to keep running pops, and he's got to start seeing what the limits are. I know he's had some bad crashes in the past, but, now's the time. You got to learn.
Right on, and we see now here, all these back markers. The one person we weren't even kind of watching there, and all of a sudden he's sneaking himself up in the conversation. The 17 of Dylan Anderson starting to gain some ground on the 10 of Terry Rinker.
Yeah, man, Dylan's being sneaky, huh? I bet with every lap he's getting more and more comfortable with that boat and getting dialed in. I'm sure he's still shaking off some cobwebs from Lake of the Ozarks. For
sure, yeah. I don't think that's his favorite place to run. I think 2 years and 2 wrecks at Lake of the Ozarks. And, oh, no, the 13 of Grant Schubert pulled a rookie mistake there. Hit a buoy. You know what that's like. And let's talk about that briefly. You got to go so hard on the ragged edge. Do you think, is it the experience that allows you to get right next to those buoys without picking them up? Here, Grant obviously being a rookie in 2023.
Nah, something just comes up in the corner and it grabs you. You're taking some risk, and a wake might throw you in there a little sooner than what you wanted to. But, that's a bummer for him because he had a great win in a heat yesterday, and he's been running hard all weekend. His podium's coming. He's going to be a great driver, but today's not his day, unfortunately.
Right, well, hey, at least the buoy was able to pop and lay flat and not be a super huge drag on the left pickle fork of that machine. He's still hanging on to 5th place. But with the 52 of Chris Rinker coming up, I have a feeling that that's exactly what Neil Barclay and the team in the ear of Chris Rinker are saying, hey, Schubert picked up a buoy. He picked up a buoy. Go, go, go. Not only is he going to be shuffled a lap down after the end of the race, but he's also going to be much slower. So hopefully it'll be an easy run for Chris to get by him. And who knows, if we could get a restarter here or something, Chris Rinker could be really in the catbird seat to jump on something spectacular.
That's exactly what the name of this game is. It's just sit there and keep running your laps and keep just looking for points. Every point matters. Every lap matters. Every turn matters. And Chris is hanging in there. He's doing a great job. Just coming off of a blowover, he's driving like it didn't even matter.
Right, yeah, we see the 94 of Rusty White, I think, without a brutal weekend at the opening round. The 94 of White would probably be right up there in that top 2-3 conversation going into Lake Havasu. We know he's got to gain some valuable points to try to stay in the conversation for Lake Havasu, but right now nobody's got an answer, not even Terry Rinker for the 24 of Spencer Love, the man out of Santa Rosa Valley, California, that Clover construction machine. Boy, he hasn't had, he's had a real kind of quiet 2023. He's, not necessarily gone out and blown the doors off of anybody, just slowly collecting points and chipping away at every race. And, that hard work and determination paying off here in the later stages of the 2023 season, which at the end of the day, you'd rather win the last 2 than the first 2. Am I right?
Absolutely. You want to go out with everybody remembering your name, That's
Absolutely.
the way it's going to be. And Spencer, hey, he's last year's champion, and he's showing why he's last year's champion because he just keeps working. And right now he's putting a gap on Terry.
Absolutely. There's the 94 of Wyatt continuing to push hard. He goes down into turn number 3 now. There you see the flash of Anderson in 3rd. And the 94 of Wyatt still sitting in fourth there. But yeah, but now here we go again. We look down to the south end of the course. It's the 15 to team craft. Now we see our leaders flash by. The Tenatary Rinker just does not go away. And that's a pretty indicative of the consummate champion and the veteran that Terry Rinker is. A lot of guys will make, they'll push so hard, they'll make a little mistake here, a little mistake there, and they'll start to fall back up to the pace where the point where they don't feel they can catch back up. You haven't seen that yet from the Tenatary Rinker. He's been 3 to 5 boat lengths behind the 24 Spencer Love from the jump, and that is an extremely hard thing to do in a Formula One tunnel boat.
Absolutely. You know that Terry's got the speed over Spencer. You have to be faster than the guy in front of you just to keep up with him. He's just got to have the perfect lap, and he has to keep the pressure on him. Terry's won a lot of races, but this situation right here is the races you remember. Whenever you battle from second the whole entire time, it's just time to see if he's man enough, if he's got what it takes.
Absolutely, and it looks like the 59 of Tyler Welch was able to get that ride back running, obviously way back off the pace and a multiple laps down, but good to see the 59 of Tyler Welch figuring out getting that machine back running again as we see our leader, the 20, there's the 10 of Terry Rinker chasing down our leader, the 24 of Spencer Love, and the 17 of Dylan Anderson. Again, if we get a couple of back markers to get caught up in the wrong position, 2 back markers are fighting for one another. This, even with 3 minutes and plus 1 lap left, it's still anybody's race out here on the shores of Grand Lake.
Coming up interesting is that we have Jeremiah Mayo, who's going to be running into a situation where he might be a lapper here. And I'm wondering if he's getting team orders right now to hold up for Terry.
For sure. We'll have to see. Obviously, he can only go so far, right? We've got things like bearing away and things like that are put in place so that you can't necessarily have team orders too hard. But you're right. We could see the last couple of laps where the 24 of Spencer Love sandwiched between those 2 Phase 3 performance boats. And, boy, that could make it a real difficult finish to this race for the 24 of Love.
Yeah, we make jokes on that stuff, but I'm sure he's being told right now, look, just keep a nice tight line and don't make it easy, but don't make it hard.
Right, for sure. At the end of the day, as the 24 of Love comes up on the 8 of Mayo and Mayo chooses lane 1 and has been in lane 1 before he comes up on him and he stays in lane 1, the 24 of Spencer Love can't say anything to the 8 of Mayo. As long as he's not moving all over the course and driving the 24 all over the place, he's got to accept that, hey, Mayo's going to stay on the inside line. He may then have to adjust his game plan for the final few laps here to hold off the Tenatary Rinker.
Yeah, absolutely. And then if he stays in lane 1 and Spencer's got to go the long way around, Jeremiah is fast, so it's not going to be easy to get around him.
And look at the 17 of Dylan Anderson. How do you find an extra gear with 3 minutes left in the race? He's now less than 3 boat lengths away from the Tenatary Rinker, and this is what those back markers do. If you can stay and hang with the leader till the end of the race and that water's churned up and the faster back markers you're starting to catch up on, it really starts to close the gap, and you really got a dogfight here in these final few laps.
Yeah, this is what happens. This is whenever you start to wear out, your helmet starts sagging on your face a little bit, your hands start cramping up. You just start having these things that you're conscious of that don't let you lay down your fastest laps of the day. Earlier, we're still looking at 34-second laps. Spencer has been so consistent. Yeah. I can't hear you over here, Thomas. I'm sorry, buddy. You go.
As we get working hard out here in the final few races. Sorry about that. I might have had some technical difficulties with my headset here as we're subject to the conditions, so might not be able to have the 190 of Dustin Terry with me for the rest of the race. But look at that, hosing down the 24 of Spencer Love. On the Tenatary Rinker. Rinker living on his outside hip, trying to push hard there as they get into the final waning stages of this main event here at the inaugural Boats, Beats, and BBQ on Grand Lake here in beautiful Grove, Oklahoma. Round 3 of the 2023 Formula One Powerboat Championships. Can Spencer Love hang on for dear life here and hold off the hard-charging veteran, the Tenatary Rinker? You see him flash there before we cut to our overhead drone shot as they come out of turns 1 and 2. Now right behind the Tenatary Rinker, though, is the 17 of Dylan Anderson. Look at Anderson sneak up on him. We got a battle 1, 2, 3 separated by... What is that? Separated by like less than 2 seconds, maybe 2.5, 3 seconds between first through third. We got a battle here, but the problem with the 17 of Dylan Anderson is he's got to deal with the wakes of 2. Now Terry goes wide to the outside. He's making a move one way wide to the outside, trying to get those RPMs up. Oh no, that's 24 of Spencer Love getting a little squirrely coming down the straightaway, and that might be exactly what the 10 of Terry Rinker needed. as they work their way down the back straightaway. The 24 of Spencer Love continuing to push hard. Now he's going to get up on the 99 of Travis Yates, and this might be exactly what the 24 was Love. Perfect timing to get by that back marker. Yates is going to go wide to the outside. That means the 10 of Rinker's got to live in the wash at some point of the 24 of Spencer Love as they come out of turn number 4 down the front straightaway. Now here comes the 17 of Dylan Anderson up on the inside. The white flag is out. Go fast, turn left, just 4 more times for the man out of Santa Rosa Valley, California. Can he hang on to the title here in the Formula One class? As they go down out of turn number 1 and 2, now here comes Dylan Anderson up on the inside of the 10 of Terry Rinker. We got a battle for first, second, and third here on the final lap of this 18-minute plus 1 lap main event in Formula One. As they go down into turn number 3. Our leader, the 24 of Spencer Love, sets it tight. The 17 of Dylan Anderson down to the inside. We're going to have a drag race to the finish as the 17 goes tight to the inside. Ladies and gentlemen, as he comes off at turn number 4 and walks it down the front straightaway, your inaugural champion here in Formula One at Boats, Beats, and BBQ out of Santa Rosa Valley, California, number 24, Spencer Love. And about a half a second behind the 24 of Spencer Love, the 10 of Terry Rinker, and about a half a second behind him in third position, the 17 of Dylan Anderson. You will not see that highly competitive Formula One powerboat racing anywhere in the world except for right here on the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series. What an amazing race it was here at the inaugural Boats, Beats, and BBQ. The 24 of Spencer Love started on the pole, and boy, did he have his hands full with the 10 of Terry Rinker. But what a veteran move and an unbelievable race by the 24 of Spencer Love. Thanks for joining me, the 190 Dustin Terry. Again, ran into some issues in qualifying heat number 3, getting together with the number 12 of Sean Love. But, boy, what an amazing race it was. The 10 of Terry Rinker gave him everything he had. He threw everything at him. And at every turn, the 24 of Spencer Love was able to counter and really make a great run of it here at Boats, Beats, and BBQ. So let's take it our final grid here, our finishing order unofficially in the Formula One class. Your winner again, the 24 of Spencer Love. In second, the 10 of Terry Rinker. 17 of Dylan Anderson coming in third. 94 of Rusty Wyatt in fourth. The 13 of Grant Schubert in fifth. The 52 of Chris Rinker doing a great job there in sixth position in his backup boat. He started 12th. Last off the start pontoon, seventh, the 59 of Tyler Welch. Eighth, the 8 of Jeremiah Mayo, who really had, honestly, by his standards, a bit of a rough weekend. He's still obviously only in his second year here in Formula One, but what a great job by the 24 Spencer Love. In ninth position, the number 9 of Johnny Fleming. In 10th position, the 95 of Mark Welch. And rounding out our field, in 11th position, the 15 of Tim Kraft. In 12th, the 99 of Travis Yates. And the 190 of Dustin Terry. And the 12 of Sean Love rounding out the field. As he gets the checkered flag in hand and makes his way back out onto the course. Ladies and gentlemen, let me hear you put your hands together here locally in Grove, Oklahoma, and wherever you are in your living room or anywhere across the world. Your winner at the inaugural Boats, Beats, and BBQ's Formula One class, number 24, Spencer Love. What a great run by that driver. That has a very well-deserved checkered flag in hand and some great hardware back to California. And, boy, he's got a real close race to finish off the season. As, again, we leave here in Grove, Oklahoma, and we get about a month and a half, 2 months off. So there's going to be a lot of work done by a lot of drivers before we finish off our 2023 campaign at the Legends of Havasu down in Lake Havasu City, Arizona, where we'll see the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series joined by other Mid-America Outdoor Racing Series. They're going to have some bull riding, side-by-side racing, and the preeminent class at the Legends of Havasu. And at the Legends of Havasu, the main event there for Legends of Havasu, the final round of the 2023 Formula One Powerboat Championship Series. And we're going to have a doozy, ladies and gentlemen, between the 52 of Rinker finishing sixth. He's probably going to shuffle back to second or third. You might see the 10 of Terry Rinker vault up to first, possibly even the 24 Spencer Love, because if you remember coming into it, let's take a look at those season standings. season standings before this. Let's go back and take a look at the season standings before the race here in Grove, Oklahoma, and see if we can't kind of figure out where things might settle out after this race here. So we saw going in, it was the 52 of Chris Rinker. Now, he finished in 6th. He only had a 17-point lead? Yeah, 17-point lead over the 10 of Terry Rinker. But the 10 of Terry Rinker only had a 30-point lead over Dylan Anderson. Now, Spencer Love is probably going to vault over Dylan Anderson. And I think the 10 of Terry Rinker is going to find himself in first place in the season standings after this weekend. But the 52 of Chris Rinker could fall all the way back to 4th. The 94 of Rusty Wyatt might even leapfrog him. But you look at that, top 5-6 drivers, I mean, depending on how things go in Lake Havasu, you very well could see the top 5 drivers had a legitimate chance to win the title here on the Formula One Powerboat Championship Series at our final event of 2023 at Legends of Havasu, the last weekend of October in beautiful Lake